Peter Hammond coming on as well too. So, but I want to get, so, all right, hang on, here we go. All right, let's go silent. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Chris Wyatt Africa with my special guest today, none other than Kobus Hoffman from the Freedom Front Plus. He looks down and dejected. It's been a terrible election for the Freedom Front Plus. They've only doubled their vote, tripled their number of representatives in the councils. I don't know. It's a terrible election for you. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought I was talking to the Democratic Alliance. Kobus, Hochhandit, you're on mute.
Hi, Chris. No, I am great. We are all tired, but yeah, we are very thankful. And what can you say? It's been a great election
for you, for your party.
Well,
now, no reflection on you, but for South Africa, it's not been great. 10 million votes for the angry, naughty children. It beggars the imagination that 40% or more of the population would still vote for the people who give them raw sewage in their streets, no rubbish collection, who racialize everything, and then blame non-existent things like so-called ephemeral white monopoly capital and other things. It's unbelievable. But I'll tell you what, the key thing here that really matters from a standpoint as far as the ANC is that in Gauteng, they got obliterated. Like 33%, 34% of the vote. That's astounding. And as I predicted, in eThekwini, in Durban, they fell under 50%, down to 41%. They lost Peter Maritzburg to the DA. That's shocking for them. But the DA really fell down in the Western Cape. They have all these hung councils now. They should have won. And the DA let me down because I predicted Nelson Mandela Bay 50+1 for the DA, and they went from 45 to 38. What the heck? That's opposite. Now, I did, and you and I talked, and I said, your party's going to go. There's no way it's not going to grow. It's going to gain. You've had a good campaign. You've avoided controversy. From what I've seen, although I didn't speak to many candidates, it appears that the Freedom Front Plus was on the ground talking to people, trying to get people to vote for them, and that's the key. And listen, you got the worst performance as far as seat-wise is in the Eastern Cape, which is not surprising. 6 seats. That's impressive, though. KZN, you got 5. But in every other province, you got double digits, brother. Double digits. And listen, people are talking about this, and they're going on and on about it. But the province with the highest number of Freedom Front Plus seats is not the Western Cape. It's not Gauteng. It's the Free State with 34 seats. Wow.
No, Chris, I think, the guys were working hard. I think we got down on the ground. We spoke to people.
Recording in progress.
Sorry, I forgot to start the recording. Sorry.
No, that's fine. That's fine. I just want to. No, so the guys were working hard. We could see, there was a flame inside of the hearts of every candidate. Politics are hard, so a lot of our great candidates did not make it. But at the end of the day, everybody gave their best, and I think they got the message over. I think that everybody would have wanted to do even better, but I think this shows that we are gaining, and we are standing up, and we are forced to be reckoned. And as far as the coalitions go, unfortunately for people that did not want to see us in coalitions or in government, the Freedom Front Plus is going to play a major role in government now, a major role, and we're going to play a major role in the coalitions. And it's not going to be easy for the guys in the coalitions. I think this time around we're going to make a real statement to say, listen, this is what we want for our voters. That's the mandate we've got, and that's the mandate that we are going to keep with.
Well, let's just be clear about this very quickly, Kobus. 2016, I know you had by-elections, you had successful ones after, but the yardstick is 2016 because that was the last election. 2016, 67 seats. 2021, 217 seats. Nobody can claim, even you can't count Action SA because they weren't there, but the Patriotic Alliance is back. They disappeared. They weren't on the ballot last time. Nobody can claim that kind of growth. That's astounding. And now, Kobus, the mainstream media narrative, or as I prefer to call them, the fake stream, lame stream media, their narrative has been that you killed the DA, you stole votes from. Well, no doubt you took DA voters, but you also brought people to your polls that weren't voting, who'd given up on elections. Is that an accurate statement?
Definitely, Chris. I think they don't want to recognize that they actually pushed away a lot of voters on both sides. Listen, when we were on here last time, I said that the black and the white voters were walking away from the DA. And you can see with the performance of Action SA, and you'll see that with the performance of the Freedom Front Plus. And that only happens when you lie to people. That only happens when you've got a different set of rules and you send out a message that is not clear and not understandable to people. So it might be that we took votes from them. I will not apologize for that. And I think in the future, we'll even see more people coming to the Freedom Front Plus because of just normal, fair, basic principles. And that's what we promote.
Well, I'm not going to sit here and pick on the DA, but there have been some of the DA, and I would say their attitude has been dismissive and arrogant about the Freedom Front Plus. I mean, I've heard people comment, well, what has the Freedom Front Plus done during lockdown for anybody? And I could say the same thing about the DA, going to court and getting decisions which you win, and then it's not implemented because the government is corrupt and doesn't listen to the court decisions, really doesn't do things for people. So I'm not picking the DA, but I think that the DA has been knocked down a peg, and which is what some people expected to see them in places. They claimed Cape Town. I said that wasn't going to happen. They're still over 50% with 60%, which I predicted. But a lot of people had hoped that they'd be pulled below that, so they'd be forced to listen to the parties. Not going to happen in Cape Town, but certainly going to happen in Saldanha Bay and Beaufort West if they can cobble together. In George, the DA didn't get a majority. What the heck? So crazy stuff. Couple super chats I got to address really quickly here, Kobus, because my audience is throwing this, they're hoying this money at me, so I need to address it. So Brett Sessoms, his first question out of the bat is: did Godfrey Skosana win his ward up in? Is he in? I think in Limpopo, in Polokwane? Did he win? I didn't see. Do you know?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
Well, we'll have to check on it because I don't recall which ward he was running. I think he was running in Polokwane. So he's, of course, a black African who was running under the Freedom Front Plus banner, and Brett's very focused on it. Brett said the Freedom Front Plus is focused on service deliveries, and it paid off. Yeah, I think being honest with voters about who they are paid off, too, and not changing their party's position every time somebody said something about them. They were pretty consistent. And how did Freedom Front Plus do in Limpopo? I can answer that. Kobus, you have any thoughts on that? But I can look real quick. Limpopo, you got 1.35% of the vote. But you probably didn't expect it, but to do much there. That's 30,000 votes, but you got 18 seats in Limpopo. That's nothing to be ashamed of.
No, definitely. Look, we came from a low base. I think everything extra is a win. But I never thought that, we would grow this much. So, yeah, I think the message was right. I think people are fed up with political games and, being politically correct and, we just want services. People in South Africa just want services, black or white. I'm very interested. I do not have the figures yet, but I'm very interested to see the black and the brown vote percentage that we drew. Because even black and brown people came up and told me at the voting station, we voted for you. And we only want a fair chance, equal opportunities, and service delivery. That's what they wanted. And I think that's what they're going to get now.
Well, and that's something I'm also very interested in seeing, too, because for years, and you and I think we talked briefly about this, the perception of the Freedom Front Plus, the way it's described by the media. And again, in my analysis, the party, not speaking ill of the party when Constantine Viljoen created the party, but it's not the same party that it was back then. Now, many of the values have continued, but the message is more of almost a centrist. It's conservative, but some of your parties using more centrist. There's no one as far right as you, but that doesn't mean you're far right. It just means you're close. Exactly. It means you're close to the center.
I think South African politics moved so much to the left that we are actually the center point of politics. There's a lot of parties that say no, but they're the center point. But if you go down and you look at the policies that they're adhering to, then actually the Freedom Front is the most moderate progressive party at this stage, and centralized at just giving people equal opportunities. And I think that's what people are picking up on. So identity politics don't work. Identity politics, we have to move to freedom and fairness to all. And I think that speaks for itself.
Now, here's a question from Jacques Kotsia, and I think I know the answer. I don't know if you're positioned to make the answer because you're not the leader of the party, and the leadership makes the decisions. You're a spokesperson for the party in this role. But I'll ask the question anyway, and maybe you have the freedom to answer it, but I'll give my thoughts on it. Okay. Jacques Kotsia says, will the Freedom Front Plus join with the ANC, and what's the plan for national election 2024? Well, I can't answer the second one. You can definitely answer that. But will you join with the ANC? I would say, in my view, not only no, but hell no, but I could be wrong. I don't know. Are you able to answer that question?
Yeah, no, definitely. That's quite clear. Right from the start, our leader, Dr. Groenewald, said there's two parties. The EFF and the ANC, we will never go into a coalition with them. And yeah, that's what it is. The long and short of it. We will not play that game. We will not be held hostage and by any party for that matter in the coalitions. And we'll put our stuff on the table, and that's what it's going to be. We have to fight for our people and the people of South Africa harder and more vigorous than ever before.
Okay, there you go. And the second question is the plans for 2024. I'm sure there's already a plan for 2024, but I have to say, now you're going to have a couple years of having ward councilors and council members on city councils and 217. I mean, my goodness. So you're going to have some people who have much more political experience, and some of them might be rock stars after 2 years performance that you might consider putting up for provincial legislature or at the national level because of name recognition if they've done a good job. So did you have a plan for 2024? And is the Freedom Front Plus going to have to sit down and relook their plan and go, maybe we need to change this based on the success we just had?
Yeah, look, definitely, Chris. With this enormous growth comes enormous problems. There's administrative problems. There might be issues. It's a great growth. We've seen it the previous election as well. So there will be growth pains. But I think the leadership is quite competent. And I think, that there is a lot of stars that came over. We've got really good candidates. They went through a fairly rigorous process. I think administratively this is going to be a challenge, but I think that at the end of the day, we're going to do great. I think 2024, we'll have a force to be reckoned with.
Now, here's some advice, and you don't even have to pay me as a consultant for this, so some free advice, and I'll share it with Dr. Groenewald. We're waiting for his schedule to firm up. I think he'll be coming back on the channel soon, and that should be interesting. But here's some free advice, okay? I'm sure I'm preaching to the converted here, but if you have, because, I mean, this is a big jump. You have a lot of people, and I know the party vets candidates, but people are people, and sometimes people misbehave, even the people we trust. So my recommendation, of course, to Freedom Front Plus is if you have a member who gets one of these seats and then does something inappropriate, then not only do you investigate it thoroughly, but you're transparent with the public about when any charges come up. This is what we're looking into. And if you find the person did something wrong, you expose them and you get rid of them. The reason I say that is that the trust level for the cities, for the wards, is so low right now because of the ANC and because of the political situation that you can only gain. Because here's the bottom line. If you have a member accused of corruption or misdeeds, that's bad press. That's not going to go away. But if you attack it the best way you can, like I just suggested, you're going to mitigate the impact. You're still going to have people that will cause problems, but you're going to lower that by being honest. And people who are legitimate, lucid, cogent thinking individuals who are willing to consider voting for your party go, you know what? In my ward, this guy was caught stealing. He was a Freedom Front Plus. And they not only reported it and were honest with me about it, they were serious. That guy's being prosecuted now. He's been kicked out of the party, and they brought someone else in. You know what? I'm going to consider voting for them again. So that's my free advice to the Freedom Front Plus.
No, that's the truth. I think in South Africa, we are so used to, and it really hurts politics. If you look at the low voter turnout, that's what's hurting politics. There's no accountability. Nothing happens to politicians. They can do as they want. They can break and steal as they want. They can shoot off a firearm in a public space and nothing happens to them.
Juju.
Yeah, and he says it was a BB gun or something.
Yeah, right. I think he was talking about the gray matter in his head. It's BBs.
Yeah. So I think accountability at the end of the day, if somebody does something wrong within your party, rather stand up, sort it out, make it public, and then move on, rather than, trying to conceal this. And at the end of the day, the truth always comes out. It doesn't matter who you are or how much you try to cover it up. The truth always comes out. And even within our party, if there's something like that, we'll have to sort it out.
Excellent. So we've got a number of Freedom Front Plus voters in the audience. I recognize some names.
Nice.
Yeah, and others who have empathy and sympathy for the party and rooting for it. No haters yet. I'm sure we'll get some hate wankers in here at some point, but Brett is.
Just give it time.
Yeah, give it time. It always happens. But let me. Brett just gave a $10 super chat. So Brett is paying for my part of my internet bill this month. But so he says your viewers didn't watch SABC coverage. To which I'd say, Brett, thank you for the super chat, but that's not surprising. I have to watch SABC, but I usually have to vomit first and then come back and sit down. But the reason is because Dr. Ekurhuleni was on SABC, and he said the Freedom Front Plus would never go into coalition with the EFF and or the ANC. He said it last night on SABC. You're right, Brett. But again, a lot of my viewers don't watch SABC. Honestly, a lot of my viewers have told me endlessly that when they want news, they come watch my Indaba Africa news every day, and that's where they get news. So, yeah. And there's a question here. This is a good question from one of your Freedom Front Plus voters. This person voted for you. One of the 500,000 votes that you managed to get. 500 plus thousand. Richard Lemert says, sorry, it's spelled in the French fashion. That's, Afrikaners, they still got that Huguenot mix in there. Anyway, Richard Lemert says, Freedom Front Plus has another idea to run a coalition. He says collision. I think he means coalition. That's a typo. Collision, that sounds like the EFF.
It could be the same thing.
No, well, the EFF and the ANC, that'll be a collision when it comes to coalition. But
collision,
yeah. That Peter Mulder spoke about that has not been tried yet. Could you please ask your guest? Do you know what he's talking about with something Peter Mulder said about a coalition idea? I don't know anything about that. No.
I don't have any knowledge about it. I can say this. Coalitions will be handled by our national office. Mm-hmm. So there will be contracts and they will handle all the nitty-gritty so that there's nothing that jumps out at the end of the day to bite any of our voters. So Dr. Groenewald, he's going to take the lead on that. And I'm actually also, just Chris, I'm actually very excited about this because, we were in coalitions previously with parties in certain districts. And there was a lot of stuff that went wrong, that, we were not really preempting beforehand. So I think this time around also, we've grown wiser, and I think there's a lot that's going to come to the table. I think it's going to be a surprise for some people, but I think there's a lot going to be on the table, and we're going to tighten everything up to get what we need and what we want.
Thank you, Kobus. All right, now, after asking you to get rid of some of the light, it's getting dark in there. Can you get some more of that sunlight back in there, or an overhead lamp if you've got one? Sorry.
That's it. Is it better?
That's a little bit better. It started to look like you were in a cave somewhere. We don't want people to think you're in Afghanistan.
Well, it's cloudy outside. I think it might be the thunder. Just give me 2 seconds. I'll just switch on a light as well.
Okay, thank you. Yeah. All right, folks, you're listening to Chris Wyatt Africa here on the Indaba Africa Network. Oh, yeah, that's going to be a lot better. Yeah, there we go.
Great, better. Okay, cool. Sorry.
Oh, you're white. I had no idea.
Yeah.
Just kidding. Obviously, there. Anyway, so people have to light heart about things. But Jody said, Freedom Front Plus now just need to Judge Dredd as a political strategic consultant. A little background on that to let you know, Kobus. I stood as a candidate for judge of elections here in the local district. 4,900 voters. It's an off-year election. Not many people come out. But I went and campaigned at the polls, and I won with 3 times as many votes as the next person. So people are calling me Judge Dredd.
Well, done it.
I am the law. I am the law.
So, you are the law now.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Well done. We're proud of you, man.
That's my gavel. It's a Starbucks bottle doubling as a gavel. Anyway, so I got elected too. So success in the Wyatt household. Thank you very much.
Yeah, you see, good vibes all around.
There you go. Well, not in Lutuli house or in the DA.
No. But it's sweaty in there, but yeah.
Yeah. People are definitely sweating. Yeah, people are like, will Ramaphosa resign? Yeah, right. You would think he'll sell off his McDonald's shares too? I don't think so. Anyway,
No.
He's not going anywhere. They might want to get rid of him, but they've got no one on the bench that even has any gravitas to step. What are you going to put up there? Ace Magashule when he gets convicted of the asbestos trial eventually?
Yeah.
Jody Taylor says, Freedom Front Plus makes me feel like a proud South African. I haven't heard people say that very often lately, so thank you for that. That's awesome.
Thank you very much. Yeah. I think that hope, at the end of the day, everybody wants a bit of hope, a bit of light at the end of the tunnel. And I really think that with this whole campaign, we did a with the green waves we did. We made posters and just asked people to blow on their horn when they pass. And I discussed this with one of our members of parliament the other day while on the phone, and he said to me, "You won't believe," and we also got that, "you won't believe every time that horn of a vehicle driving past blows, it just gets this hope inside of you, just gives you that extra bit of energy to push forward and push harder and go longer." And that was an enormous pickup for everybody. Every time a vehicle goes past and they hoot to you and wave at you. Some people did other stuff, but you get this real inspiring feeling, and yeah, it's contagious. Look, everybody wants to feel that stuff in South Africa will be sorted out. So
okay,
yeah,
I'm guessing that some of the people driven by gave you the universal symbol for Futsek.
Yeah, sometimes you stand there and people blow the horn and they
roll the window
wind down their windows, roll their windows down, and then you start approaching them and you don't really get what you expected. So, yeah, but for the most part, it went well and people hooted, and it was very inspiring, and I'm lucky to have experience that, really.
Well, let me bring in a comment from one of my viewers and then a question from another. Moonchild said, I was definitely considering the Freedom Front Plus, but at the end of the day, I stuck to the DA so that the vote wasn't split. But keep up the good work. You may get me next time. And I don't recall where Moonchild is at. So, yeah, it depends where Moonchild is at. I mean, if it was in Limpopo, it probably didn't make any difference. Yeah. But if it was in the Western Cape, it made a difference. And also in the place that I'm most concerned about, Tshwane, it definitely could have made a difference given a vote there. The DA's performance in Tshwane is a disaster, absolute disaster. I mean, they had 45% last time. And now they're, it's just a disaster. So Cedric Stevens asked, did the Freedom Front Plus expect more progress or gains in the Northern Cape or other targeted regions? Now, that's a fair question because you made gains everywhere, but some places, they weren't as good. And I don't like to say you probably wrote a few places off, but I'm sure you focused your efforts in some places. So what about that? Did you make more progress and gains in Northern Cape than you expected or other targeted regions?
Look, I can't really talk about the Northern Cape, but I can tell you this. We had a focused strategy to focus target areas. I think that worked. You must remember our reach wasn't that big. Now it's much bigger. But at the onset of this election, our reach wasn't that big. So we had to do a focused, strategic campaign. And I think, there's places that we did not focus on, where we also did well, but we did not focus all our energy there. But I'm sure that by the next election, our reach will be greater, our strategy will change. And I think a lot of those people will also come over to the Freedom Front Plus. But yeah, we would have liked to do more. But at that stage, we had a strategy and we kept to it. We stuck to it. And yeah, it paid off at the end of the day.
Well, I have to say this. One thing that works to your advantage now is that with this many votes, you certainly got a lot more people voting for your party, at least in this election, which means the potential to recruit more poll workers, more campaigners, more candidates, potentially, if people are interested. You got a bigger pool to draw from that are direct supporters of the Freedom Fronts. Even if you don't know who they are because you don't know who voted for you, you can reach out to more and you should be able to draw more people to your standard, which is, that's really helpful for let's be honest, you're a small party, but you're not an insignificant party. There was a concern just 5 years ago that the Freedom Front Plus was just going to be a niche party that was never going to get more than 1% of the vote. Well, you're proving that was a premature. The rumors of as Mark Twain said, the rumors of my passing are greatly exaggerated. So.
No, definitely, and I think people like to be part of something that is winning. I think that's a thing that's entrenched in everybody. So the more they see the Freedom Front make major gains, the more they will come to the party, and the more they will trust the party. You must remember the DA's whole strategy with this election was don't split the vote. It's DA or ANC. And that's not the truth. You've got much more choices than two. Even the smaller parties, there's even other smaller parties that was represented. And they've got good candidates, they've got good policies, and that whole campaign for me, I must be quite honest, it's not truthful. I would rather see much more parties representing a bigger coalition than a one-party coalition where you don't have any say in. So I think people will be. I think this election will loosen people up to the whole thing of you can vote for a smaller party or another party. You don't have to stick to those guys and rid yourself from your moral base. That's a problem that we had now.
No, absolutely. One thing I could recommend for you all now that the party's gaining traction with other folks and outside what some might consider your traditional base is that your party website is in English and Afrikaans. It may want to start looking at putting Xhosa and some Zulu up there, and especially Tshwane or something like that. Have somebody do that. Now, you got to make sure you got somebody who knows what they're doing. You don't want to embarrass yourself. Don't embarrass yourself like at the Mandela funeral. Remember that? Oh my God.
Yeah, look, I won't do the translation. I've got a friend that he always laughs at me when I try and speak in Sesotho, and he always tells me, "Listen, buddy, go slow. You're not there yet. So do that at home and don't do that in public." So I think as people progress and people come into the party, you'll have to look at those translations. I know that the English-speaking people that voted for the Freedom Front Plus, it's been a long battle for them to get proper English, out of the party. And I think we're there. I think, we embraced it. And as we grow, there's a lot of facets to politics and to the party dynamics. And you have to evolve and you have to accept and adjust and move along. But I do think that the leadership that we've got now, is really on par with strategies and all the more. So, positive.
All right, cool beans. Somebody just gave me a possible coalition in Tshwane. Paulie, that's our firefighter, this resident firefighter. Before I get to that, I lost track of where I wanted to go with that. There's something I want to share with you. Oh, there it was. Yeah, Herman, the IT guy, said, where can we sign up for the Freedom Front Plus? Well, I'd recommend going to their website as a starter. I just put the link in there, and that's an English site rather than Afrikaans because it was asking English. Yeah. Is that the right approach? Or I mean, yeah, Herman would have to tell us where he's at, to find an office in town. But start with the website.
Yeah, I think that's one way of doing it. The more personal way of doing it is visit one of our offices. Look, in Gauteng, we've got, I think, four, five offices. In Gauteng, we've got a lot of offices. Across the country, we've got offices. So if you want a personal, engagement, then come to the offices. But then if you do not, you can just go and join on the website.
Well, I have a super chat in Rand from Larsalis, a longtime viewer, a really sticky, dedicated viewer of the program, and somebody has pretty good IT advice and marketing advice. He says, what does the Freedom Front Plus think about every language having its own university? It will destroy the Afrikaner party narrative if the Freedom Front Plus campaigns for it. Interesting proposal. I mean, if the Freedom Front Plus came out and said, you know what, we're in favor of a university that has Zulu as the language medium of instruction and one for Xhosa, as well as Afrikaans and, like restoring Stellenbosch to that. What do you think of that? Is that something the party might get around, an idea?
Look, Chris, I think that's been our policy right from the start.
Well, see, he doesn't know that, though.
That's something that we've been campaigning for the last few years, where we say mother tongue education, and then you put English and all the other languages to it. So that is something that we are very passionate about. We see a lot of children fail just because they have to go to an English school. So that's their second or their third language that they have to educate themselves in, and that there's a disadvantage to it. So we've been saying right from the start, build a Zulu school, go in Zulu. If at the end of the day you want to go to an Afrikaans school, there should not be any issues. But if you want to study in Zulu, go to a Zulu school. And even with tertiary institutions, if you want to go in Zulu, and it goes even further, it builds out the language. You must remember, a lot of African languages have not been built to a standard that you can use it in science and all this. So that's a perfect way to build out a language in, say, science, law, and all that. Get the jargon right, but in your language. You build your language, you build your culture, you build your identity. And that's something that we are really passionate about.
No, that's excellent. Erica said she's concerned that the Freedom Front Plus be seen as a whites-only party, but that has been a concern for a long time, and one which I shared with not exactly earth-shattering news to Dr. Ekurhuleni when I interviewed him, but I said, you really got to get out there in the townships and places and recruit Peter Stand. And the party's aware of that, and it seems like they're making an effort to get beyond it. I don't know that the party in early versions of itself was really interested in that. It seemed to be focusing only on Afrikanerdom, but that doesn't seem to be the party of today.
Yeah, definitely. And you must remember the Freedom Front Plus is a freedom movement. We lost our freedom in 94 to the most part, to the most extent. So it was started as a freedom party. But as it progressed, we realized that there's other people in South Africa, other cultures, other peoples within our borders that also want their freedom, that also want something similar to that we want. If you take the Zulus for instance, or you take in Cape Town, there's people that you can work with that's got the same ideas and goals that you have, and that's a common denominator between us. We can work together to create a space for everybody. We don't have to be one people, and I can't say that I'm an Afrikaner because I have to be ashamed of it, and you can't say you're Zulu. That's what's killing South Africans. That identity theft that's taking place. That is taking everything away. We are not one person. We're not one people. We've got our differences, but we can work together with their differences to make a difference in South Africa. And I think that's the basics. The recipe is different from that of the DA. We're not one nation. We are a country with plenty of differences, plenty of different people, but we can still work together respectfully and get gains for everybody at the end of the day.
Absolutely. Folks, you're listening to Chris Wyatt Africa on the Indaba Africa channel, part of the Indaba Broadcasting Network. My special feature guest is none other than Kobus Hoffman, representative for the Freedom Front Plus, a party that's feeling its oats today. 217 seats in South Africa's municipal election. Wow. I breaking news to Kobus. He had 207. I told him it's 217. Wow, that's quite an impressive showing. In 2016, the party got just 67 seats. Today, 217, and we still got, a few outstanding votes coming in. I don't know if that'll change the outcome, but wow, they went and doubled their vote total at least. Absolutely amazing performance, the best performance out there, and now they're kind of a kingmaker in a few places. So I'm going to get to J.P. Dreckmeyer's comment here about Juju in just a second, in which you don't have to respond to. I'm free to do that, but it's your choice, but I don't put you on the spot. But Paulie, our firefighter, and then Paulie's a firefighter. He's great at first response and taking care of people. I don't know how good his math is, so I checked his math. It turned out to be correct. He says 214 seats in Tshwane, 69 for the DA, which is a drop. The Action SA 19, that's incredible that they did that much there. Freedom Front Plus 17, that's also incredible. ACDP 2, Cope 1 seat, that's incredible they still exist. I didn't know they're around. Yeah. That's 108. That's a coalition. And I think that all those parties can work together for the benefit of people in Tshwane. The DA has failed in Tshwane, and I think it's a direct consequence of Action SA and Freedom Front Plus, which, people talking to Western Cape about getting the DA below 50% because they're not responsive, they're domineering like the NC, they're in charge. I don't know if that's the case, and it certainly wasn't the case in Tshwane because they only had 42% of the vote last time, or 45. But now they're down in the 30s. They definitely need Action SA. They definitely need Freedom Front Plus, and they'll definitely work with you because they don't have a choice. And that at least keeps the ANC and EFF out of power. That's a viable coalition. It sounds good. And then the piece that you don't have to comment on, and this was about Julius Malema. Where'd it go? Let me find the Juju thing. Someone was mentioning where it's basically, there it was. He said, he said, Juju, the man that wants to kill white people, saying DA and Freedom Front Plus are racist for not wanting to go into coalition. I saw that. It wasn't just funny. It's sad. The fact that his speech could easily be charged for hate speech in South Africa, what he said. And he won't be charged and never be prosecuted for it. But if a white South African said, if Helen Zille said anything remotely like that, she'd already be in jail, probably with like 2 million rand bail. Whereas murderers get 3,000 rand. It's not a level playing field. And Julius Malema gets away with whatever he wants. That is definitely hate speech. And how in the world can you call a political party racist because they don't want to align with a party whose fundamental basis is racial hatred? You don't have to answer that, Kobus. That's for me to answer.
Just a small answer. I'll try to be fair. Look, luckily our constitution gives us the right to align us with whoever we want to. And unfortunately for Mr. Malema, we do not want to align with him. We don't share his values, and it's not because of race. He's morally corrupt. So that's why we don't want to work with him. And that's the bottom line. It's not because he's a black man. It's just because, we don't have anything in common with him. So, at the end of the day, look, in Tshwane, it's exciting. It's really exciting. Look,
it's exciting for the Freedom Front Plus in Action SA, not so exciting for DA.
You must remember there was a bit of a big brother. You can go and look at an interview between Mr. Steenhuisen and Dr. Groenewald. And Dr. Groenewald alluded to the fact that you've got this big brother attitude. If you don't do what we want, you're out and you're so small, you're insignificant. And I think both Action SA and the Freedom Front Plus will have a few before that coalition comes to a stop now. At this moment, it's going to stop.
Yeah, a lot of what you just said was broken up. I think that what you were getting at was that the coalition that may form, including you guys at your party and the DA, isn't going to happen in 5 minutes. It's going to take a few days to iron it out because the big brother approach to the little party can bring me one seat is no longer the situation. And so, looking for more equal footing in a coalition. Yes.
Definitely.
Okay. Yeah, that's so Herman, the IT guy, is in Rotoport. That's the guy who was asking about joining your party. So their offices in Joburg, so you can check that out. Check out the website and you'll find something. Neil Toner is going Freedom Front Plus, giving a plus a thumbs up there. Yeah, lots of love for your party. I think a lot of people who are joining in the channel here. And even those some DAs who voted for the DA didn't want to split the vote. That's honestly, to be fair, that's what I said all along. I didn't say vote for the DA. I said vote for the party that has the best chance of giving you a 50+1, because this is not about percentages. And that there's people in the DA are trying to paper over this and going, hey, the ANC's been brought below 50%. That's amazing. It doesn't mean anything. They still control 181 councils. And the bottom line is about service delivery. If you don't control the council and the budget and the resources and where the focus is, then people don't get service delivery because your party members in the ANC are busy stealing. The answer here was to gain seats and control municipalities. To be fair, to be honest, it probably wasn't in the cards in this election for the Freedom Front Plus to gain any municipalities. You just don't have that strength large enough in any particular area. But you gained a lot of seats, and now you're a kingmaker in Tshwane and possibly a few other locations in the Western Cape where you are needed and your voice must be heard. And that can only be good for your party, growing your party. And I think, honestly, I don't want to sound like a sycophant or a supporter of the Freedom Front, because I'm not either, but it can only be good for South Africans, in my view.
Yeah, definitely. It's good for democracy because we've been molded into this thing where you, and this might sound, but you don't really have value as a white male adult. You don't have value. You don't add value. You stole from South Africa. If you look at all the campaigns that these guys run, and the ANC and the EFF have run, they always bat people or white people for that matter. Mm-hmm. And now, for the first time, we as a Freedom Front, I say, don't make it a color thing. Let's make it an issue where we talk about service delivery. Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter who you are, what politics you are playing. You can't deliver the services. Give us a chance, move over. We'll show you how it's happening. And we are going to employ people with merits, people that know how to do the job, not politically connected. And I think people listened to that and they heard that. And I think that's what people wanted to hear. People in South Africa, and white people and brown and black people are fed up with race politics, something, where because you're white, you can't do that, or because you're black, you can't do that. That's I think what gave us the upper hand.
Well, I think also people are a little bit tired of the fake, racist allegations. I mean, the Gareth Cliff situation where the woman felt offended because she felt she was personally attacked, and that's her prerogative. I disagree with her reaction. She overreacted in my view, but I get her position where she's coming from. Not her conclusions, but why she felt that way, because she felt she was being dismissed. But that's not racism. And it was called a racist incident. That's just stupid. And most South Africans can see that for what it is, except the flying monkeys on Twitter. They get all excited running around, and freaking out. But Twitter is just a cancerous workspace, so I try to avoid it. So Jacques Coetzee has another question, as do a couple other folks here. But before we get to that, Jody Taylor said, summary from what you said and I said, paternalism from the DA must stop. Yeah, I think that's a great statement from her. Absolutely the truth. So Kevin says, be more white. We're awesome. And somebody said, I like white people so much that I decided to become one. That's pretty funny. And Patrick just said, drop a non-racist like for the stream. Thank you very much. Well, I'll tell you what, man, I'm taking my inspiration from Steve Biko, the Black Consciousness Movement. Maybe it's time for the White Consciousness Movement. That's a joke for the AI, relax. This isn't a Klan meeting. Get control of yourself there. It's a little light humor here, folks. Anyway, but let me get back to the questions very quickly. So Jacques Coetzee asked a question. What did the Freedom Front Plus do on the ground level before the election to gain so many more votes?
I think one of the greatest criticisms was from voters that they do not see us. So firstly, we upped our footprint. We went down and we got billboards, and not just postering, but billboards. We went down to local radio stations, trying to get them on board, stuff like that. Getting down to the roots, getting people, activists, to work among people and to give them the message. And then also, I think one of the important things is the leadership that the party has. And Dr. Groenewald is quite clear. He doesn't mess around. He gives short answers and distinct answers. And I think that people are not liking all this, playing around. He talks in short sentences. He gives a clear statement, and he doesn't back down from it. And I think that was also one of the things that I heard from in the campaign, that people said, we like short messages. We want to know where we stand with you guys. And I think that was very important. And also the slogan, I think it worked. We've got a really great team of people that came together, graphic-wise and marketing-wise. And I think their strategies work. And it definitely must. We saw it.
Well, we just saw an announcement, and I believe, I'm not going to hold my breath because I'll pass out and turn purple and die, but apparently the Incontinent Electoral Commission will be announcing the final results at 6 p.m., which is in 11 minutes. So we'll have you on the air here, and I'll spin it over, and we'll see what the final results are. I bet it'll still say 99%, not 100, but just So they'll announce it, but they won't update their website. That should be updated the moment that it strikes the hour.
Next month or somewhere. if we don't have load shedding.
Yeah, well, you're going to have load shedding now because apparently if you don't reelect the ANC, you won't have electricity. And apparently the ANC has had its best campaign ever. And the ANC, Ramaphosa also tells us that Eskom has done a very good job since 1994. You know, this guy is living in an alternate universe with his palace and his blue light escorts and his fancy cars and his caviar and his McDonald's stock. He's not living the life of South Africans. He's living the life of Riley. He's really confused. Unbelievable.
I always laugh at this. You go with Mercedes Benzes and all these lowered cars into areas where, you know, there's non-existent roads and stuff. And I always wondered to myself, you know, what does their electorate think about these guys coming in every election with these smart cars, you know, Rolex watches and Gucci and all those clothes? And, you know, what must those people think when they do not have electricity and they do not have running water and stuff like that? You know, it baffles me. But yeah, obviously it works to an extent, but you know, I just can't fathom, you know, what goes through those people's minds when they see these guys.
Yeah, no, I'm with you 100%. Let me take care of a couple things in the chat very quickly. First off, we have a correction on the program. We have a correction. This is a administrative update here. Jody Taylor said, Chris Wyatt, I'm a male. Jody, you're free to be whatever you want to be. Male, female, pick any gender you like. That's today's world, brother. No, I think I called Jody a female. That's why Jody corrected me. So I've done it on more than one occasion. I mean, you know, people in South Africa, man, I don't know if Jody's in South Africa, but the way they spell given names, it's not quite the same way we spelled on this side of Atlantic. So I get confused from time to time. So I don't know if it's androgyny or anyway. So my apologies to Jody for calling Jody a lady. I think I did that. So he corrected me. And then JP Dreckmeyer says, Chris, where's your Boer Cola? Well, you'll have to talk to the Oaks and Make Boer Cola, who unsolicited. I didn't ask for this. They said they're going to ship it to me, and I'm still waiting. So once it comes,
it's still hovering there in your harbors, Chris.
Well, along with hundreds of ships offshore. No, so once it comes, as long as it doesn't taste like horse urine, I'll drink it cold and warm on camera. And if it's good, I'll let you know. And because, you know, I'm honest. And if it's awesome, I'll endorse it. I'll happily endorse it for no compensation whatsoever. But I can't endorse it till I drank it. So there you go. Anyway. Yeah, let's see what else we got here very quickly. There was a question from Matthew Dixon. It's an unusual question. I know the answer, but I'll let you take it. Hey, Chris, I hope you're well. Thank you, Matthew. Could you please ask Kobus how municipalities are supposed to be run, like a business or an NGO? I think it's pretty obvious. How would you answer that, Kobus?
I think at this stage it's almost run like an NGO, but I think the right answer would be to run it as a business. Look, you've got your income and you've got your outflow, and as soon as your outflow exceeds your income, you've got a problem. And that's one of the biggest things that we've seen these last couple of years. If you've got a salary bill that's you know, overblown or bloated, then you've got a problem. If you employ people that earn or gives a lot of money, but do not think that we actually have to. Sorry, my internet's unstable, I see. Yep. That's one of the things that we have to look at.
Yeah, no.
Sorry, I don't know what we missed there.
No, we missed a good portion of it, but if you could try to get a little bit back in from the beginning.
Okay.
Jeez.
To run like a business.
Okay, we got it like a business, yeah.
End of the day, unstable again.
Yeah, well, actually, let's move on.
Like I people for doing nothing.
I think the point you're getting at is it should be run like a business, not like an NGO. So you got money in, money out, and you balance your sheet, and you have a strategic plan. So, Pero Ruan asked a very serious question, and I'll answer it. You don't have to answer it. Very serious question. He says, so serious question. Will the Freedom Front Plus bring back apartheid? To which I say, I haven't seen anything from the Freedom Front Plus that says they endorse jab passports. So they're not in favor of apartheid. They don't endorse jab passports.
It's a bit off key now, but segregation is coming to South Africa by way of jab passports. So yeah, I don't think we are the guys to blame for apartheid. If you if you look what happened. You couldn't sit on the bench. It said white only, and now you can't apply for a job because it says black only. We are not the new engineers of apartheid. I think it's happening now, but we won't be the ones that bring it to you as South Africans. Definitely not.
Erica says, touche in Amazimtoti in KZN. We've been without electricity all day. Well, there you go. There you go. So I guess you didn't elect the ANC. That's your fault, Erica. Shame on you. That's the same reason why the virus is spreading, because you're not wearing your mask. You're not wearing your mask. We're not wearing your mask. That's South Africa's fault. Yeah, because you're all responsible for this. So, so Jacques got a lot of questions here, man. He's not even a member. He's not even paying. We're just really generous to Jacques. They're good questions. They're good questions. That's why I keep picking them up. He says, what does Kobus think of the reason behind the ANC still receiving majority votes? Well, the ANC didn't receive the majority of votes. They received a plurality of votes. That's an important distinction. Why do you think? I don't know if you want to answer that. I honestly, the answer I give to people is that there's identity politics in play here. The demonization of minority parties. I don't mean minority from white, black, and brown, but minority in size, smaller parties. And also the fact that a lot of people aren't well informed. They assume and believe that the only reason they get handouts is because the ANC gives them handouts. When it's not the ANC, it's the government of South Africa that gives them handouts and gives them houses. That's my answer. Any thoughts on that one, Kobus?
Yes, Chris, you must remember the ANC is a freedom party for many black South Africans.
A liberation party.
A liberation party. And at the end of the day, people do have loyalties to that party for the role that Mandela played and some of the other guys played within the ANC. So it's very difficult to get people to walk away from their loyalty. Look, I believe personally that they believe this or a new leader will stand up and correct what the ANC is busy with. So it's not for me to break them down. It's actually sad, but I think that plays a major role with regards to what's happening and why they are getting this majority vote or major vote.
Kobus, the results are still coming in, and I said 217. I was wrong. 221 seats for the Freedom Front Plus. Look,
we're still going.
Yeah, you guys haven't given up. I'm gonna have to say at some point, look, can I have one of those seats?
I'm very proud.
I prefer to be in Tshwane, somewhere around Hatfield, if you don't mind, or Brooklyn is okay. Just saying.
Those guys are going to work very hard. So believe me, I don't think you really want to be there. They've got a hell of a lot of work cut out for them.
Well, and speaking of which, I think I might have buyer's remorse for what I've signed up for on this side. We'll see as judge of elections. But so Anna Marie now said, Chris Wyatt, it's part of the fun. Please don't start referring to us in the chat as they, he, she, it. Well, Anna Marie, they corrected me here as it was telling me that I had the wrong. Sorry. I couldn't resist. But we are supposed to have the final results from the Independent Electoral Commission here in 2 minutes. So you can stick with me a bit longer there, can't you, Kobus, and see what we get?
Yeah.
I mean, listen, I am a good luck charm, brother. You came to me with 207. I got you to 221. That's 14 more seats.
This last 15 minutes was quite actually one of the best elections I've ever been in because you never see that growth over 15 minutes.
It's crazy. 221. The sad news is that the EFF has gained over 200 seats as well. They're approaching 1,000 seats at 982, but they control 0 municipalities, and their performance has been uneven. It's been well in the Northwest and Limpopo and in Mpumalanga, but that's to be expected. I think actually in Mpumalanga, you guys did pretty well there, considering. Let me see. Yeah. In Mpumalanga,
that also worked very hard there. I called the EFF wrong. You will remember when we talked last or previously, I said that the three major parties will not see growth. And I'm actually very surprised at the EFF's growth. We did not see that in by-elections. In the by-elections, they did not really do well. This is quite surprising. Problematic, but surprising.
Well, my prediction was around 10% for them. I expected to pick up some stuff, particularly after the insurrection in KZN and Gauteng. I thought they could pick up votes in Soweto and certainly maybe in Durban. Not that they're going to make a big jam, but I thought they could gain. So they're coming in line nationally with the kind of what I expected. I didn't expect to see them do as well as they've done in Northwest. I knew they would gain, but they're like 18%. That's shocking. But yeah, I expect to see them to grow. I also expect to see the IFP grow, and I was hoping that they would get between 5 and 8% of the vote. Looks like they're about 5%, but that's not the story. The story in KZN is they've kicked the ANC's bum. I mean, the ANC needs to be running down the street. They're being chased by IFP supporters as I speak. They've gotten a PK right upside the head. They're really. I mean, that's one of the big stories. I mean, the big stories that I've told people in this election are the performance of the Freedom Front Plus across the board. It's very impressive. That's the first story. Action SA is going to be a kingmaker in Tshwane, potentially along with the Freedom Front Plus, and maybe in Joburg. That's the story of this. The Inkatha Freedom Party, not just increasing their vote and taking more seats, they're up to, let me see. Sorry, I got to get back here. How many seats are up to now? I think they're at 500 or something like that before, but yeah, 544 seats, but most of those, almost all of those are in KZN, and they've basically taken the Zulu heartland and expanded it back to back when who betrayed Pete Retrieve? Drawing a blank right now. I'm trying to remember the king. Dingane, when Dingane was ruling. So they basically spread the Zulu kingdom back out to the borders that Dingane had back when he slaughtered Pete Retief and his party and went after the women and children and elderly out at Wien, those camps. Yeah, so
Chris, just to interject there, sorry, but that's a perfect example of what we've been talking about, where people take back their own pieces. You must remember, this is what we've been saying all along. The Zulu want a piece of land for themselves. They want to rule over themselves. And this is a great example of one of those instances. You look at Cape Exit and all that, you'll see the same trend.
Mm-hmm. Well, someone just asked a question, Moonchild, how can the EFF possibly get more seats than the Freedom Front Plus? From a philosophical standpoint, I would agree with you. I'm gobsmacked. But from a practical standpoint, the EFF has managed to get 2.4 million votes. The Freedom Front Plus from 115,000 or 300 with, they went 300 to over 500,000. So if you take that and you times it by 6 or 7, then the Freedom Front Plus is going to be even better than the EFF, because the Freedom Front Plus concentrated on winning wards, which is what I told opposition parties to do. You must concentrate on wards. Don't concentrate on getting votes. Now, that sounds counterintuitive. Of course, you want every vote you get, but it doesn't matter if you have 10% of the country. You have to have 10% in a district, and you've got to win outright in that ward, get a candidate there, and then it makes a difference. So the Freedom Front Plus is overperformed based on the number of votes it's gotten, and its votes are an incredible improvement over last time. I mean, folks, now it says 221. Let me make sure I'm there. Hang on, get too excited here. 220, come on, 221, 99%. We're now afternoon, and it still says 99%. So maybe they're announcing on SABC, so like 5 people will be watching that, so we'll have to check it after the fact. Yeah, but they now say that they have 23,142 precincts out of 48. So only 5 precincts in South Africa haven't reported the results, according to this, even though they said it'd be done. 8,794. All seats have been, so apparently there's that ward must not be able to affect the outcome of that municipality or whatever, or whatever that district is. That precinct can't affect the ward outcome. So it's done. It's done. Here's the final totals, ladies and gentlemen. I'll put them on the screen. Kobus, just bear with me. I'll read them for your benefit. Plus, my screen's kind of small for some people to see. All right, here we go. We have 46% support nationally for the ANC, but that doesn't matter, folks. That's just a moral victory for the DA. That really doesn't matter, because this isn't about national level. It does send a very strong signal, though, but it doesn't matter in practical terms because it's about municipalities. 46% for the ANC. They control 167, or they're leading in 167 councils. They control 122. That means that 45 of those councils, they don't have a majority. They're going to have to get a coalition. So those 45 potentially could wind up in someone else's hands, like the DA and their partners. The DA with 21.84%, which percentage, again, doesn't matter, but that's the percentage that the party said they would come in at. They figured about 22%. They have 1,494 seats. By the way, the ANC has 4,500 seats. They had over 5,000 seats last time. That's what matters. They had over 5,000 seats in 2016. They have 4,500. They've lost over 500, maybe 600 seats total. The DA has dropped over 200 seats. Not bad, not as bad a drop. They have 5 million votes, and they control 12 councils, and they are leading in 24. The EFF controls 0 councils. Yes, and there was much rejoicing. 0 councils, and they have 982 seats. That's a little less comforting. 2.4 million votes, 10.41% of votes. Now, the vote total. The IFP controls 9 municipalities and is leading in 16. They have 544 seats, almost all of them in KZN, 5.7, almost 6% of the vote nationally, even though they're getting almost all their votes in KZN, which is one of the most populous provinces. That's an impressive performance. And then let me jump down, the EFF at 10%, I already did that. Freedom Front Plus, 2.37% of the vote, but it's spread evenly across the country, and they go from 67 seats to 221. Action SA, which didn't exist, has 2.36, just below. So you outperformed Action SA, just ahead of them. They have 90 seats. So you've got more than twice as many seats as them and just a few more. So you really did a good job. Patriotic Alliance at 75 with about 1%. UDM has not done very well. They got 51 seats and 0.5%. There are 624 seats in other parties I haven't mentioned, plus 53 in ATM. So there are about about 700 seats between independents and other parties that are at about 10% are not the main parties or these smaller parties. That's going to create for some very interesting, okay, we're back on the screen now, Kobus. That's going to create for some very interesting dynamics in city councils across the country. Very fascinating stuff. Kobus, so this is supposedly the end results. Let me see if they've updated the results on your party, which they weren't doing earlier. They're always behind. These people are like, using, rotary dials or something. I don't know. So let me see. Freedom Front Plus, this still says you have, now see, you can download the party, but the main page has the current results. So on this one, this is how far behind they are. This says you have 189 seats when we know it's 221, and you have 548,000. So I'm going to guess you probably got maybe 575,000 votes, maybe more to get for your 221 seats. So the bottom line is not the number of votes, although that's impressive, and you can crow about it, and you can get more people to your standard to campaign for you. The bottom line for you is 221 seats in municipalities across South Africa. That's astounding, brother. Astounding.
I think if you look, those are warm-bodied people that have a passion for what they do, and I think they're going to do well. I really think they're going to bring better services and better energy to South Africa. We'll see. I'm astounded. It's by God's grace that we have this. We can do everything that we set our minds to. But if it's not in his will, it will not happen. So I think at this stage, we really have to give him all the honor for what he's done in South Africa and to the Freedom Front now.
No, good point. Let me address a couple things in chat real quick, Kobus, if you indulge me for a moment. Jacques Coetzee said that I'd love to be a member, but I've been jobless since last year and have a disability on top of that. So it's very difficult to get a job that suits my disability. Jacques, and to everybody listening, my channel was never monetized to make money. It wasn't. So all I ask for people is that you watch my content, and if you like it, please like it and leave a comment and participate in the chat. That's all I ask. South Africa is suffering a horrific economic collapse courtesy of the ineffective, corrupt RICO machine known as the African National Congress and stupid decisions made by the National Coronavirus Command Council. I appreciate and I empathize. And look, I'm not looking for people to become members of my channel unless they have the resources that can spare it. For those who can, if you want to do it and support independent journalism, I have people in South Africa who have the means, who are Master and Commander, which is $15 a month US, just a handful. And that covers several people as far as them wanting to be a member. So Jacques, you have no need to apologize. I was just teasing you about, just making the point that because I tell people this all the time, I address my audience in the chat more than virtually any person I've ever seen on YouTube. And it's harder to do it when I have an interview. But the interview with today, you're in a happy mood. I'm in a happy mood. I'm a judge now. The Freedom Front Plus done well. So I've spent more time bringing in, plus also letting you know the nice things people are saying about your party. So Jacques Coetzee, you have nothing to apologize for. for. And I wish you the best of luck in finding employment, because that's got to be a horrific situation. I really empathize with you. So thank you so much for your desire to be a member, but there's no need whatsoever. Just be a subscriber. And also make sure that the PooTube doesn't unsubscribe you from notifications, because they do that all the time. So that's all I ask of people watching the program. We joke about memberships. We joke about super chats. And that stuff goes to good use, folks. But you don't have to feel... Listen, Lars Salas is a cheapskate. He's been here forever. He's been with me since the beginning. And I got the first super chat out of him today after the Freedom Front Plus does well. I mean, what do I have to do for this guy? Do I have to get the Freedom Front Plus to win Gauteng, and then he'll give me a real super chat? I'm just teasing. Lars Salas is a valued and appreciated member of the community, as are you, Jacques. Nobody should have to apologize. And thank you for sharing your personal situation. There's no need to, but I really appreciate it. It gives us, it reminds us of how many people are suffering in South Africa because of ineffective macroeconomic policies, lockdown regulations, which, by the way, are unconstitutional according to the North Gauteng High Court, and racist policies. All of this contributes to the misery of black, white, and brown South Africans. I got something for you, Kobus. Ruger Stalking says, Ruger wrote to me last night, got me an email. That is the same person, right? I remember, because Ruger's like a firearm, so I'm not going to forget that. So Ruger says, where is the Freedom Front Plus heartland? Their gains are impressive, but geographically spread, which makes it difficult to govern outright. My understanding of your heartland is there's no such thing. It's initially it was with the Afrikaans-speaking Afrikaner people who self-defined that way back in the day. But your party has reached out beyond that. It's trying to grow across the country. So I don't know that you have a heartland. If you do, maybe it's the High Veld. What's your thoughts on that?
Oh, well, I think, we are Afrikaner-based still for the most part. But you'll see we've got plenty gains, Free State, Northwest, Gauteng. So that might be the heartland, if you want to call it that. But we've also seen the Western Cape with enormous growth, Eastern Cape, KwaZulu-Natal, but I think the majority of the votes come from Free State and Northwest and Gauteng. But we are quite spread out, we as people almost, we like space. So, we are spaced across South Africa.
And that's what you want to be. That's what you want, to get that geographic spread. And in this election, you focused and play. I mean, look, I wasn't on the ground, and I wasn't watching your people canvas, but one can't help but look at the results based on the percentage the population got, which again doesn't matter, although it's very nice, but it's the wards or the seats that you won, proportional in wards, and you've got 221. That is an overperformance of epic proportions, which means that someone had to be on the ground. It's not simply, I'm pissed off the DA, I don't like the NC, I'm going to vote for the Freedom Front Plus. The way the media portrays your party historically turns a lot of people off. Not your party, but the way the media portrays it. Yeah. So they'd have to have a reason to come to your standard, which means you had to have done some successful campaigning. So let me just, before you respond, Leovin Janssen van Rensburg, which is a lady, by the way. It's a combination of her parents' two given names. I didn't know that. I thought it was a dude. Anyway, she's very generous. She just gave 140 Rand super chat. She said, thank you, Chris, for your support and understanding. People like me who will support you because of that. Yeah, so thank you, Leovin. Listen, when Leovin started super chatting, I stopped eating dog food and went back to eating proper beef. And Pero Ruine reminding me that it's Christmas season, and like the Salvation Army super chat, Leovin super chat, and then so that's for Leovin, that's for Pero. This is for the three Brett did earlier, and then Ronald Hans, who's also a lovely lady and is very generous with her super chat, says, we are one #Wyatt Army, here to support you, Chris, and one another in hard times. Thank you so much. It's much appreciated. Yeah, no, this is, listen, Kobus, after being harassed by the PooTube and being attacked by the flying monkeys who went and made false claims against my videos, none of which I actually did, it doesn't matter. I actually considered not doing this anymore. I don't make a living from this. I am retired from active service, but I work 7 days a week, 12, 16 hours a day, every day. And people can just look at my live streams of last week and see that I'm not just BSing people. But it's this sort of stuff and this kind of interest and sort of a sense of community that really keeps me going. There's 100 people watching the stream right now, and I'm very grateful for all that. I'm also grateful that you all turned in to listen to Kobus. This has been so far, and we'll probably wrap up here soon because I think you've been very generous with your time. I don't want to chase you off, but I don't want to keep you beyond your time. So, but I mean, I don't have to be anywhere for an hour and 45 minutes, so I'm okay. But then I'm teaching. But this has been, I've enjoyed this stream a lot, not just because it's a happy times for you. I mean, because it's not happy time for South Africa. This is hung councils is not where we need to be. The DA has let us down. If the DA could have got like 47% in Saldanha, and then they could have turned the EFF for a coalition, then I wouldn't be mad at them. But they get like 30-some% in a place like that, and I'm like just shaking my head. Anyway, so thank everyone for the super chats. I appreciate that so much. And Jacques is. Let me get back to Jacques because he said, "I know that, and that's what I love about this channel. It's that everyone has a voice, and that's what matters. And I'll become a member someday." Well, that's an awesome thing to aspire to, Jacques. And the reason I hope you become a member is because that means you got a job, you got an income. So, and that's more important to me, that you have a way to live. I don't want to see you with salty cracks every month. Those biscuits kind of nasty. Yeah, that's right. They get kind of nasty after a while. Patrick says, tell him the Freedom Front Plus is the only party I've ever voted for. And on that ballot in my life where I did it with 100% of my heart, have gone others on occasion, but strategically. So, yeah, Patrick supports you 100% there. Cool.
Thanks, Patrick.
And Paro Ruan, it tells me that, really quick for you, Kobus, he's only here for the fire porn. What I mean by that is that I did coverage, which the mainstream media ignored entirely, of the mother city of the Cape Town when the fires last, winter for you guys, spring for us here in April. I did live coverage covering that event, and I didn't let people speculate and run rampant rumors. We reported fact as we knew it. I did hours of live coverage on that, and so that's the original fire porn. And I actually had Paulie, who's a firefighter, was in Cape Town with his wife visiting the in-laws, and he flew back to Joburg. And then when he landed at the airport, he came on my program because that's how long I was on the air. And he reported because the fire was licking literally at their neighborhood. It was a few hundred meters away. Sure. Yeah. So we did that. I got a member of the DA who's a ward counselor in Cape Town. Anyway, so that's the original fire. But the fire porn he's talking about is I've been doing videos and live coverage of the La Palma volcano in the Canary Islands. That's the fire porn. So anyway, maybe now the fire porn will be the ANC's voters disappearing. They're getting torched. Exactly. That's exactly right. So listen, Kobus, I mean, what can we say? I mean, it's congratulations. I mean, I think they're very much in order. And anybody that doesn't congratulate your party is just a sour puss. That's what I got to say.
Chris, thanks a lot. Firstly, I want to say you do not stop the channel. You inspire people, and people need to know. There's only one narrative that's been carried in the world, and that really hurts everybody's individualism and their own futures. And you hit the nail on the head with what you are doing. So I want to thank you for that. We really appreciate it. I said the last time, it really brings hope when there's people in other countries, that knows what's going on in South Africa and that can tell the story of what's going on. We've got some major nonsense to sort out in South Africa. And it's the role of everybody, not just the politicians, to take hands. I think and I hope that this inspiring gains by the Freedom Front Plus, will inspire other people to come over, inspire people to be proud of who they are, and doesn't matter what color, just be proud of who and what you are. And I really want to thank you again. I am glad that you are a judge. You must do a little stream so that we can see you in your working gear. And I wish you all the best. And it's nice talking to you. And I want to thank your viewers as well. I really appreciate it. And thanks for giving us a chance. We really appreciate it, and we are actually humbled by this, what happened to us.
Well, that's very, very kind of you. I have Kobus, bye donkey. I mean, honestly, it's very kind of what you said, and people are also saying very kind things in the chat. And while everyone's excited now, and I'm sure that there's probably people dancing at the Freedom Front Plus. Although I'm just trying to picture these white guys dancing, Anyway, but there's probably people having a. Sorry,
get some lessons from John Steenhuisen. He's also struggling, but we'll rather just lay down and rest for a while.
Did you see Cyril at the ANC manifesto launch? It's like a robot, man. Anyway,
but stiffened up by stress.
Oh, he's stiffened up, all right. I think it's a little too much cholesterol, but so seriously, on a serious note, this is great. It's wonderful for Freedom Front Plus, and hopefully it'll make a big difference for people in places like Tshwane and a few places in the Western Cape where you'll be able to be a kingmaker potentially in a coalition to help take a lock council and turn it into a majority for one coalition. And then since you have a voice, not just one or two, you have a voice in these places, you'll make a difference. No. But the bottom line is we're all happy, we're all jovial, and for the Freedom Front Plus, but now the work begins. Now you've got
unfortunately.
Now it's vacation's over. Enjoy the weekend and then hit the ground running. So
this morning when I walked into my office, I just opened the door and there were, I think, 4 or 5 people standing in front of my office, and I was like, this is not the norm, and they were all coming, cashing their votes. So I was working hard this morning on getting those people the service that they needed. So but that's not a problem. I think our guys are ready for the work and excited for the work, and
Excellent. Well, let me bring in a bunch of comments here at the end, because if I read them after you go off, it'll just sound self-serving. It is still self-serving, but it looks better. The optics are better if I'm reading to you. All right, so let me just do that. But and then Kevin Morris asked a serious question: are we going to have a war in South Africa? Kevin, there are going to be some problems as a consequence of this, and I think that there may in fact be some demonstrations, maybe even some violence. I'm not going to talk about that in the stream, but I will do a video after the final results are certified, and I'll look at the country as a whole, and I'll do a breakdown of analysis of each province. That's all coming in prepared videos. So Kevin, watch this space for my I hate that phrase, watch this space for updates on that, but it's not appropriate for this right now because it's going to be my analysis, and it takes some in depth. Anyway, so comments. Okay, I'll say, so what's this? Lars Salas says, Chris doesn't have many subscribers, but the quality of his viewership is top. I had 22,000 before I got shadow banned. Anyway, and then, then JP Dreckmeyer, I've been unemployed for a while, and Chris Wyatt Africa, you help me keep focused and gives us great objective news. Well, thank you for that, JP. And I do give biased and opinionated news, but I'm honest. I tell you where I'm coming from. I don't try to hide it. I don't pretend that I'm being objective when I'm not being objective. Anyway, and let's see what else we got here. There's a few more. Futsarka says, buy a topizia. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. And then Paulie says, agree, Kobus, this channel is very much needed. He's responding what you said. And Courtney's here from the Wide Family Farm. I was a guest on her channel last night. It's a bunch of preppers and farmers out there in Ohio. Go check them out. The Wide, WHYDE Family Farm. Let's see. Now, Paro was responding to Kobus. I think he's telling you what I said. My Afrikaans reading is not bad, but my pronunciation is terrific. And I'm not going to, or not terrific, it's horrific. I'm going to say that. I'm not going to say the last word. Kobus, he said, "De mense is so P word." That's not exactly what I said.
Let's stick to very happy.
Yeah, exactly. But I did interpret that correctly, didn't I? Anyway, so Dirk Britt says Chris Wyatt is in, and I never know how to pronounce this. Begins it's YSTR. How do you pronounce it? YSTER.
Eister, like iron.
Okay.
Iron.
Okay.
You're an Iron Man.
All right, Iron Man. Chris Wyatt is Eista. Yeah, okay, there you go. So Chris Wyatt is an Eista. Okay. All right, so I thought that was good. I want to make sure.
As long as you're not a rusted Eista.
Yeah, well, yeah, there you go. There you go. Lars Salas says, don't underestimate the impact you've had in South Africa. Listen, I got to say this, Kobus. I'm not trying, and this is why I didn't want you to go right away, because it sounds like I'm tooting my own horn, but I'm actually astonished that when I contact a number of people across South Africa, I know who you are. I'm familiar with you. I've heard of your program. You've had it. And people tell me this all the time, but I mean, I'm like, really? Come on. I can't believe it. When I go to South Africa, it's going to be interesting when I go visit everybody. But my next trip to South Africa is in part to do a lot of filming for tourist locations, to bring that video onto my program, to introduce South Africa to people, and maybe Botswana and Namibia if I have time. But it's also going to be going around and visiting people who are subscribers and watch my program, and visiting all my previous guests that are available to see me and just kind of catch them on film and do live streams. So that'll be interesting because anyway, as Jake, sorry, go ahead.
And me, Chris, you're going to visit me as well.
Oh, absolutely, of course. I mean, listen.
You're quite right. Many people know you, Chris. I've also watched plenty of your shows. So many people that I speak to as well, they know you. And that's why I say you make a great impact in South Africa, because it gives another view of, outside view on South Africa, so that we don't always think that we are crazy and paranoid and.
No, well, I appreciate that. I just it jumped ahead of me here, so I got back to where I was at. But but I found out what it is. I thought it was the experience, the CV, all the things I've done in Africa, the proximity to National Command Authority, the most powerful nation in the world. I thought maybe that's why people came. It's not. It's none of that. It's my kung fu fighting at the end of my video sometimes. That's why they come back.
Because you talk the truth.
Well, that's true too. That's why I became a target as well. By the way, I don't know if you have any kids around. You don't have to answer that question. That's a personal one. I don't ask them, I guess, unless they want to volunteer. But I will be doing Christmas streams this year like I did last year, unless I get censored and my channel disappears. On the 23rd, I do a kids stream. And as long as the letters come in English, because I don't have the time to translate Tshwane and Afrikaans back to English, but I'll be reading kids' Christmas letters to Santa. I'll be dressed as Kersvader. I don't know how you pronounce that, but
Kersvader, yeah.
Yeah, Kersvader, yeah. So I did that last year on the 23rd. It was wildly popular, but I didn't read letters. This year, I'm going to telling people now, if the kids want to send letters in, send it to me, and we'll do that. And then I do the adult show. Adults, not adult content. Adults on Christmas Eve. And then,
I was worried.
No. And then on Christmas Day, because it's my birthday, I do another stream. So those are coming up at Christmas.
Awesome.
And let me just get the last few comments here, and then we'll let you get out of here. Mark Surgeon, I don't recall seeing him, says, hi there. Today was elected as, Mark Surgeon was elected as a proportional representative councillor in the city of Tshwane for the Freedom Front Plus. I'm so eager to get to work and start fixing this.
Hey, Mark.
Hey. All right, Mark, I would like to interview you if you're willing to come on the program. You will be treated fairly here. The only person we don't treat fairly here is Juju, and I actually do treat him fairly, but it looks like I'm treating him unfairly because everything about him is just so negative. So, but I'd love to have you on the program, Mark. Tshwane, for those who know me and have listened to my program for a long time, my favorite place in South Africa is Pretoria. It is. Yeah, so there you go.
I had the privilege to interview Mark when he did the interviews before us as a party.
As you were vetting candidates, right?
Yes, yeah. So well done, Mark. Very proud of you guys, and you worked very hard. It stood out to me how hard you really worked. So I really appreciate your effort. You did well.
That's brilliant. Listen, I will ask this of you, Kobus. Please pass him my contact information so that we don't have to, just pass it to him. If he wants to get in touch with me, he can do it, and I'll get him on the program. We'll talk about it. Cool. Jody Taylor says, "Are you still the machine? You are still the machine. Great work. Just trying to recover from my fragile self-esteem," says Jody. Oh, because I called Jody a girl. Sorry, Jody.
I've been called a lot of things in my life.
One of them might have been that P word I didn't pronounce a little while ago. I've been called that.
That's a very much used word in South Africa, especially for politicians.
Exactly. Anyway, and Courtney from the Wide Family Farm thanked me for asking people to go check it out. It's a really good channel. Listen, if you just want to sit back and laugh, these people are crazy silly. I mean, last night after my interview, I listened for a little bit, and they were very kind to me. And that's not why I was eavesdropping. I just wanted to listen to their show. They had some show about farm gourds. They were comparing gourds. Anyway, but they're a strange group of people, but they're a lot of fun. And check them out. Taz Girl said the reason they're here is for the beard. And with that, by the way, folks, this is not an Paul Kruger beard. That would be a shorter one. It's more in line with a Pete Retief beard. But the problem with Pete Retief is that Pete Retief, at the hands of Dingane, met a very unfortunate fate. I have other plans.
You've learned a lesson.
That's right. That's right.
I've just cut my beard, I think 2-3 days back. Mm-hmm. I cut it down a bit again. And the beard's a good thing. I think we must do the beard thing more among men.
That's Ronaldo from the DA is he's a spokesperson for that manscaping thing, and you keep that away from me. I'm not shaving his beard off right now.
No, we'll keep Ronaldo on ice.
ETT says, "Yo, the voices in my head. I have no idea what that's all about." Anyway, by the way, the question that came earlier before you, just to clarify, when someone wrote Pete Mulder, I was kind of confused. I'm thinking that sounds like a name from the past. And I think the person meant to say Dr. Peter Groenewald about potential coalitions. But we're going to get Dr. Groenewald on the program soon, and let's leave that question for him. He's the leader of the party, and if anyone's going to answer the question directly, I think it's best to ask that question about any potential coalitions. And also bear in mind, folks, that it's early days. The results are just now coming in final. I'm going to go back and make sure they didn't screw up and add any more seats. Let me just double check here, or take any away. You know, I saw the number. They better not try to take them away because one of those seats is reserved for me. Now see, okay, that seat, this says 220 now. What did I say? I just said, are they going to take seats away? It was 221. I'm not making this up. I put it on the screen. It was 221. Now it says 220 for the Freedom Front Plus. And Action SA said 90. Now it says 86.
Yeah, you must remember as these voting polls comes in, your percentages goes up and it goes down, and Dr. Peter Mulder, our previous leader, he once told me, you never open a bottle of champagne until your councillors are in their seats. So yeah.
but see, I got you. But the problem with that one, Kobus, is that you don't list a seat as having been awarded until you've counted all the votes, and then it's done. What kind of system is this? So Action SA just lost 4 seats, and the Freedom Front Plus lost 1, and I don't know where they went. It looks like they might have gone to the DA. Well, anyway, whatever the case is, if it's 220, 221, that's a heck of an improvement from 67, and I think that's the bottom line.
Definitely.
So, listen, I got to say once again, thank you so much for coming on. I'm not chasing you away, but I know you got other things to do. You got folks to take care of, and you've got some plans to get ready for here as you play a bigger role in municipal governments in South Africa. By the way, the key thing for this was, for me, for this election, as I've been telling people since June last year, is that this is the time for opposition parties to show that they can be transparent, responsive to reticence, and deliver service delivery. And if you can't, you explain to them what the hang up is. The government, national government is controlling this. We don't control that. This is what can do for you. And for your ward counselors to be out in their wards and being seen. Not every day, not every hour, but you got to be out. Don't just show up 5 years from now and try to get a vote. And if you do that, I'm telling you this, Kobus, your party will go from strength to strength to strength. There you go.
Chris, no freeloading here. I think the guys all realize that they're going to have to work hard. They've got an enormous task upon them. And it's actually my wedding anniversary today. So I need to go and make my wife a coffee or something just to make her feel happy for her choice 15 years back. I think sometimes during elections, she might be regretting why she married a politician and not a rock star or something. But in any case, so
the phrase we use for that, if your wife is regretting it, it's called buyer's remorse.
Well, no, Chris, thanks a lot. I really appreciate, and have a lovely evening there by you, or morning.
It's afternoon now. We're just in early afternoon, 12. We're 6 hours behind right now. On Sunday, we'll be 7 hours behind. So I have to start doing my broadcast earlier on this side because of daylight savings. We spring forward and we fall back with the seasons. Spring, fall.
That's right.
Yeah. Anyway.
You are more than welcome. When you come to South Africa, please come and visit us. We'll go and show you some crocs and stuff that we've got here. And enjoy. And again, congratulations on your election. We are very proud of you. And keep the good fight on. And I'll be watching.
All right. Lots of people in the chat congratulating you on your wedding anniversary. Happy wedding anniversary right here. And thank you so much for giving up your time on your wedding anniversary. And hopefully your wife won't smack you upside the head. Have a good one, Kobus.
I'm used to getting a smack here and there. Thank you very much, Chris. Have a good evening.
Cheers.
Bye.
All right, bye. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's Kobus Hoffman from the Freedom Front Plus, a party that did exceptionally well. I'm not making this up, folks. It said 221 and 90. 5 seats just disappeared from the 2 parties that are potential kingmakers. That's a little frightening. pretty crazy stuff there that can happen. Kobus, or Jacques says, thank you to Kobus. Great stream like always. Let me turn this puppy off and take it off. It's very distracting for me to have that on because it's noise canceling, so it just sticks in my ear. Anyway, folks, listen, brilliant. I appreciate all of you sticking with me for this stream. I'm not running off right now. I'm actually feeling my oats. I'm in a good mood here. In fact, I'm in such a good mood that check this out. There you go. We'll put this cap on. There you go. I know some of you know this cap and know what it means. Anyway, but welcome to everyone who's been watching the stream. I hope you found it informative. Kobus is very interesting. Great guest to have. And Jody says, positive stream, loved it. Thank you very much. It was, we have so many negative things to talk about when it comes to the continent of Africa and America these days, for that matter, or the Australian penal colony. I mean, it just never ends, right? Canada arresting pastors while letting thousands of hockey fans violate social distancing and mask requirements, and nothing happens to them. But a pastor has 40 people in a church the size of a freaking, aircraft hangar, and he goes to jail. Anyway, so yeah, it's a crazy world. It's nice to have a nice, positive conversation. I'll have more of those. By the way, folks, Eric Bello, the actor, you may not know him. He's an actor. It's been in movies and television series here in the United States. He's a friend of mine. I had him on the old channel last year. He is producing a film. He's also a film producer about the Swiss Guard at the Vatican. And he needs to finance that. So he is doing that through, instead of begging for donations, he's selling merchandise for his production company. And hopefully that will raise enough money so they can do the production of the movie. He's been working on this for a couple of years. It's a passion of his. He's a brilliant guy. He's a devoted, faithful Christian and a good family man and a father. And I'm going to have him back on the channel so he gets a chance to talk about his movie and what's going to come of it. And if you want to purchase his merchandise to support him, there'll be an opportunity for that. So yeah, I'm going to have him back on the channel, as well as our other guest, who is a filmmaker in Nigeria. And he did a film on the African Continental Free Trade Agreement. We had a lot of connection issues with his stream last time. They should be fixed. We'll have him on here very soon, possibly on Saturday on this channel. Also on Rugby Ascendant, our sister channel, I'll be doing 2 live stream reaction commentary games for the Irish Rugby Football Union versus the Brave Blossoms from Japan at Aviva Stadium on Saturday. That's in the morning here, early afternoon in South Africa. And then later in the day, it'll be the Wales team at Principality Stadium, or as I prefer to call it, the Millennium Stadium, taking on the Springboks in Cardiff. I'll have that for live reaction commentary as well. So 2 rugby games on Saturday. Hopefully drive some people to the channel. If you're not a subscriber to Rugby Ascendant, folks, please go over and join us. During the week when there's no games on, we have a hard time picking up subscribers. We are at 388 subscribers on Rugby Ascendant, and we'd like to get to 400. We'd like to get to 40,000, but let's be realistic. We'd like to get to 400 sometime soon. And so if you can help us out, I really appreciate you going over there. Let me give you the link to that channel. This is Rugby Ascendant. Please become a subscriber over there. I'd be very grateful for it, and it's quite helpful. So, sorry, my browser just says something different. Okay, so let me put this in the chat, and if you want to become a subscriber, I do interviews, Victor Matfield, Gary Gold, also players, officials, many. Jonathan Kaplan I had on my channel for an interview recently, but all that goes over there, plus live game reaction commentary on Major League Rugby, the United Rugby Championship, which is currently on hiatus during the international test window, and then also on Curry Cup action. So please check it out. South Africa needs you to judge the election. Well, thank you, ETT. I'd love to do it. Contact number sent by WhatsApp. Check it out, Anne-Marie. Okay, I'm not sure who's you sent me something about somebody, Adam somebody. Thank you for that. Carmen says it was fantastic stream. Too much bad news. It's nice to have a good thing. Yeah, it's beautiful. A wonderful thing to talk about. Listen, if I can get Action SA on here, I will give them a chance to talk about a very positive outcome for them. I mean, they don't win any municipalities, but they've won a bunch of ward seats. It's incredible. So let's see what's going on. Let's get them on here, and we'll take it from there. But let me go back and take a look at the results. We'll just run through them countrywide here for those who tuned in late. These are supposedly the official final results, but they're not posted as final. And as I said, seats are disappearing. Oh, now the Freedom Front Plus has got them back, and Action SA's got them back. So I think it was a snafu there. 100%. There you go. Okay, folks, there's the screen capture. I'm going to get it. All right. So here we go. 100% of the precincts are in, and we're going to compare this to 2016, folks. That's what we're going to take a look at. Here we go. Wow. This is the final result. I've got it, and we're going to talk about this. This is incredible. All right, ladies and gentlemen, South Africa's municipal elections are done and dusted. although there's likely to be protests and complaints and grievances filed with the Independent Electoral Commission by parties, including probably even the ANC, over the conduct of this election, but certainly by the DA and others, they're going to file complaints about this because of what happened. I know that the UIM is not happy. Action SA is not happy. But let's take a look at the final results, and then I'm going to do analysis as the next week and two progresses. Tomorrow on the channel, Dr. Jeffrey Hammond, the pastor, will be on the channel tomorrow at noon Eastern Standard Time, 6 p.m. South African time. Catch that tomorrow right here on Chris Wyatt Africa. Dr. Peter Hammond, previously a guest on the channel. We'll have him on tomorrow, folks. Yep, so looking forward to that. So let's get to this very quickly, and here's where we go. Marie Devanago asks, how do you sleep at night? Your beard outside a blanket or under a blanket? I don't usually sleep with blankets, and if I do, I just throw it on my chest. Beard is outside. Funny question. Thank you for that, Marie. All right, lightning storm. Ooh, gosh. All right, final results. South Africa 2021. The ANC gets 167 leading councils. They've only won 122. That means that 45 are still up for grabs with potential coalition. They're leading there. 46% of the votes. 4,548 seats, 10,693,000 votes. The Democratic Alliance, 1,494 seats. They're down by a couple hundred. 5 million votes, or 22% of the electorate. 24 councils are leading in. 12 they've actually won. The EFF has won no councils. They've won 982 seats at an improvement of over 200, more than 200 from the previous one, with 10.42% of the vote. Slightly higher than I expected. I said about 10%. 2.4 million votes. And then let's look at these other parties. The Inkatha Freedom Party, 5.7% of the vote, but that's not what matters. 544 seats is what matters. 9 municipalities they control, 16 they're leading in. The NFP is leading in 1, and they've got 52 seats and 0.5% of the vote. That's impressive for 0.5% because they're concentrated in one area. The EFF, as I said, 10.42%, no councils, 982 seats. The Freedom Front Plus, 221 seats, 2.37%. Action SA, no municipalities here controlled, 90 seats, 2.36%. So the Freedom Front Plus came in just ahead of Action SA. The Patriotic Alliance with just under 1% at 0.98, 75 seats. That's incredible. ATM with 53, 0.5%. UDM with just 51 seats and 48.48% of the electorate. There are other parties, but let's take a look at the Cape Independence Party, because I know people always want to ask about that. That's not it. Cape Exit. There we go. Cape Exit, they got a total of 15,000 votes and no seats. They got nothing. All right, Cape Exit. Let's take a look at ACDP. ACDP got 185,000 votes, 0.8%. They got 49 seats, and they're distributed. ACDP picked up 10 seats in Gauteng, which could be important, 12 seats in the Western Cape, and they picked up 8 in KZN. So that's the ACDP. Let's look for the UIM, Neil de Beer's party, and see how it did with the final results. The UIM, United Independent Movement, got 30,000 votes. They got 4 seats. Wow, the UIM got 4 seats, folks. I got to get Neil de Beer on. That's got to be an incredible result for them. All right, let me take it off the screen, folks. People are dissing on the UIM, and I said that if they get any seats, that's an impressive achievement. They have picked up 4 seats, ladies and gentlemen. They got 2 in Gauteng, 1 in KZN, and 1 in the Western Cape. Well, there you go. There you go. Unbelievable, folks. Congratulations. Let me see if I can click. No, it doesn't let me click in and see where those are at. 4 seats to the UIM. Hey, not bad, folks. Not bad for Neil de Beer, for a party that just got formed 2 months ago. 4 seats. That's incredible. Wow. 2 months old, 4 seats. That look, I'm not trying to pump up the UIM, but that's incredible, folks. Now, look, the audience dropped from 90 to 67. That means people are here to listen to Kobus, not me. Yikes. UIM. All right, so the PA, let's look at the PA and see how they did. We saw the seats, but I don't know the numbers. Okay, it's not coming up that way. Patriotic Alliance. There it is. There's PA. I don't know why it doesn't do it. Okay, PA, Patriotic Alliance, gets 226,000 votes, 75 seats. Okay, they got 28 in the Western Cape and 16 in Gauteng, which is going to make them a kingmaker in both those places, most likely. And there you go. Cope, are they on life support? Let's look at Cope. Cope got, oh, so I should just put this in the window so you guys can see it. 47,000 votes. They're an afterthought. They got a total of 13 seats. So UIM, which is 2 months old and doesn't have the gravitas of former senior leaders in the African National Congress allied with Thabo Mbeki, and a party that got 8.5% of the vote in a national election in their first election, manages 47,500 votes in the 2020 municipal election. The UIM, which has been around for 2 months and has a leading party figure who many people find difficult to come to his standard because he was with the ANC, he abandoned the ANC, he abandoned the government previously. So some people have issues with that. His party still got 30,000 votes. It got 2/3 of the votes that a party that has been existing for a long time got. Wow. Let's take a look at the IFP, the Inkatha Freedom Party, who did brilliantly in KZN. It was a party that was on life support, looked like it was going to disappear, and it is back with a vengeance in KZN. Got 5.7% of the vote nationally, 539 seats. They control, they're leading in 16 councils. They don't control any of them, but they're leading in, so they could potentially take 16 municipalities, 24.29% of the vote in KZN. They got 527 seats in KZN, 4 in Mpumalanga, and 8 in Gauteng, where they could be useful, those 8 seats to a coalition partner. 1.3 million votes. Well done there. Now, I don't know. That should be the final results for that. And there you have it, folks. That's where we sit. That is where we sit with 100% of the vote in. Now, let me reload the Freedom Front Plus and check the vote numbers and see if the vote totals are the same at the end here. So the Freedom Front Plus, 221 seats. Let me load this up. And 548,000. So 6,000 more votes. So just shy of 550,000 votes. Wow. That just outpaces Action SA. The last one when you look here is Action SA. So Action SA, there it is. Let me pull it up and get it on the screen for you all. Action SA. Of course, they only contested in Gauteng and in KZN, and they got 34 seats in Gauteng, which is going to matter. 12 in KZN. That's not bad. So they got 9.43% of the vote in Gauteng. But, okay, so Mark Oppenheimer, the advocate, and Chris Wyatt, the judge. We talked about this when Mark was on Saturday on my live stream about the elections. And at that time, Mark said that the Action SA is going to get 10% at best in Johannesburg. I said they can get 20%, maybe more, but I'm predicting 20%. It'd be interesting to see if they went more. What did they get? Action SA in Gauteng, right here, live on Chris Wyatt Africa. Let's zoom in Johannesburg. What did they get? They got 16% of the vote. All right. All things being equal, Mark said 10%. I said 20%. Where do you round? 16, you round up or down? You round up. I win. Excuse me. 19 seats in Tshwane, 15 in Ekurhuleni. Wow. But they got none in Joburg. How is that possible? They got no seats in Joburg. That doesn't make any sense. They won no wards in Joburg. That's crazy. They got 16% of the vote, but they didn't win any wards. That's not a very effective campaign. In Joburg, they won 16% of the vote. It's off your screen. You can't see it. And they got 0 seats. In Ekurhuleni, they got 6% and they won 15 seats because they concentrate on wards. In Tshwane, they got 8% and got 19 seats. That's just crazy, folks. Crazy. So we can get this in a little bit here. So anyway, here we go. This is where they were strong. It's 18% over here. 28%, 9%, 8%, 21%. Over here, almost nothing. So, yeah. All right. There you go. Wow, folks, that's crazy. Let me see if I can get the UIM and see where their wards came in. Let me just see where they got their ward seats at. UIM. If it'll give it to me. So, they got 2 in Gauteng, so let's zoom in and see where we can get the 2. Okay. The 2, one in Joburg and one in Tshwane. So UIM got a seat in Tshwane, and we know that Mark Naidu is competing in Tshwane. So where did they get it in Tshwane? I'm trying to see. I'm looking for the seat. I don't see it here. I must have missed it at the top. No, it doesn't say. It must be a proportional representation. They didn't win a ward because 95 was the ward. So there's ward 95. They didn't win. They got 14. That can't be right. 95. Is that right? 48. Anyway, all right. So there you go. Yeah. Wow. So I can't find where the seat is there, but let's get back to the main page, and there you have it, folks. Wow, that's something else. We finally have the final results from the Independent Electoral Commission. The ANC they got smacked in KZN. They got smacked in Gauteng. Yep, 90 seats for the Action SA, 221 for Freedom Front Plus. Wow, that's significant. That is significant. Ladies and gentlemen, it's unbelievable what's happening here. Rounding off numbers. Well, I'm rounding off because 16. Come on, man. Who got it right? Somebody's got to be right. Was it Mark or me? If it was 14, I'd give it to Mark. But it was 16, so it goes to me. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. Zulus don't want jujus. That's funny. EFF gives Zulus bad jujus. Lars Hollis. UIM would have been better if that seats went to the Freedom Front Plus. Says Anne Marie now. Okay. IFP got nearly 25% of the KZN vote. That's correct, Lars Hollis. And Mark Surgeon says, will do. I take it that's in response to my request to come on and be interviewed. Thank you for that, Mark. I look forward to interviewing you as a counselor for the city of Tshwane, Pretoria. Although I don't know if it's in the Pretoria suburb because they renamed the whole thing to a mystical chief who didn't exist for a settlement that never existed until the Trek Boers founded in honor of Andreas Pretorius. Anyway, so there you go, folks. Anyway, wow, this has been pretty exciting. I think we'll go a little bit longer here. And any questions anybody has about anything that we've talked about here, this has been an enjoyable stream. I hope you've enjoyed it. It's been pretty cool. Let's see where we're at on likes. I wonder what we're doing on likes. Whoa, 133 likes. That's cool. That's cool. What do we peak at viewers? This 108? Not bad, 108. All right, cool beans. Bring Mark on and rub his face in it. What, Mark Naidu? Why would I rub his face in? He's a nice oak. I assume that's what you're talking about. Is 4 points from 16. Mark Oppenheimer. Not Mark Naidu. Yeah, okay, gotcha, Jody. Gotcha. Is 4 points from 16. Mark is 6 from 16. Colonel wins. Thank you very much, Chadwick. That's what I say. So I'm going to have fun with him. Did I understand it correct that you got elected? Yes, Olaf, I was elected. We're waiting for the official results. Where the heck is my sheet at? Give me a second. I'll be right back. I'll get the sheet. So here you go. All right. So I ran for a write-in candidacy for judge of elections in my jurisdiction. There were 4,900 registered voters. We had 1,148 show up at the polls, plus 150 that were provisional ballots because there were questions about their voting status. I managed to get 13% of the votes, and I finished with 3 times the number of votes my nearest competitor, who was also a write-in candidate. So there you go. Unfortunately, a number of the votes that I got, but a small number, were what I would call spoiled ballots because they didn't write my name down correctly, and so they're probably not going to count. But yeah, that's the unofficial results. I confirmed that the number of votes that I counted was correct based on what's posted online from the government. In fact, I wonder if I have that site up still. I could show it to you. But where's that thing at? Here you go. I got to find this again. 2021, and I'll show you. Well, that's all right. You guys don't need to see it. It's fine. But so based on the results that were posted, the number of votes I saw was correct. And I went that night after the polls closed at 9 o'clock. I went back at 10:30. The results are tabulated. For write-in candidates, what they do is they scan. And there's a video on my channel. If you want to watch it, you can see my results. Watch that short video, a couple minutes. And that was the night. It was very cold out there. I did it very dark. The wind was blowing. This was hard. I miscounted by 1 or 2 votes because I went back in the light of day yesterday and confirmed that my count actually had more votes than I realized because some people didn't press very firmly and the ballot didn't scan, but you can still see it's my name when the light is out. But in the dark, it was hard to read. So 2 or 3 of those votes I couldn't see were actually mine. Yeah, so I was elected judge of elections. My neighbor, who decided to stand for the inspector of elections because nobody was on the ballot, he is one. And my other neighbor down the street may be the deputy inspector because he also decided to run. And it looks like all 3 of us on the same street in the same neighborhood out of 5,000 people stepped up to do the right thing for the civic community and contribute back. So, yeah, there you go. Cyril speaking in a long-winded intro as usual. Of course. Jay says, congrats. Thank you for that, Jay. Squirrel is live. Okay, let me get him real quick then. Let's see what he's got to say. Let's see if he's on ENCA. Okay, and I'll bring the squirrel in. So we'll stay for a bit longer then. So let's see. ENCA. They should have it. ENCA live. Let me see. And Ronaldo's on now. Why is Ronaldo on right now? Oh, the IC is releasing the results.
Of the people of South Africa to thank the 12 million South Africans who cast their ballots in this election. By performing this important civic duty, You have contributed to strengthening and consolidating our democracy. And I'd like to congratulate all South Africans for holding an election that was peaceful, free and fair, as also confirmed by our Independent Electoral Commission.
Oh, look at that warm response.
And I'm sure Chairperson Mashinini, what you have declared as a free and fair election
Dead man walking.
has in many ways also been confirmed by the many observers who were observing our election, both here and abroad, through various means, virtual and otherwise. Through the participation of our people in this election, we can definitely say that the people have spoken.
Sure.
And we thank South Africans for speaking out through this election.
Throwing us out of office.
Those in whom the people have placed their trust, the elected councillors, now need to get down to work. Over the past few weeks, we have all spent time with South Africans from all walks of life, meeting them in the streets and being invited into their homes, meeting in the pathways of our villages, in transport modes and vehicles. They told us about their need for houses,
this is all
of the
just about
frustration
him.
of electricity cuts,
Which you're responsible for,
of feeling unsafe because of crime,
which is because of Becker.
and also of being despondent after years of not working. At the same time, many have also told us about some of the good work that municipalities, supported by dedicated councillors,
Not
are
ANC
doing
personalities.
in their communities.
Which is nonsense.
They've also told us of infrastructure that has been built in the poorest areas and also of essential services that were being delivered. They also gave us advice on how we can do things a lot better.
Dead man walking.
Listening to them, I was reminded how important it is that those in positions of responsibility enjoy the confidence of the people of South Africa. The people of South Africa want their lives improved.
Get rid of the ANC.
They want better services.
Get rid of the ANC.
They want their representatives to be responsive and also to be accountable.
They're not either.
They want to live in a better South Africa with equal opportunity, where their rights are realized and where they are treated with dignity and respect.
That's not by the ANC, a racist party.
Local government must be a force for good for development and for progress.
Dead man walking.
If we are to make this a new and better era, we as leaders must put aside our differences and work together in a spirit of partnership and common purpose.
Begging for coalition support. That's what he's
I'd
doing.
like to repeat that.
Where's my iPad? Who took
I
my
would like
iPad?
to repeat this because the manner in which our people spoke should be indicative of their will and wish to have us as leaders working together.
Who is our people, Cyril? Who is
I
that?
want to repeat it
Venda?
and say once again, if we are to make this a new and better era,
You'll resign. Thank you. Yay!
we as leaders must put aside our differences and work together in a spirit of partnership, of cooperation,
They don't
of
want
collaboration
They want domination.
and common purpose in the interests of the people of South Africa.
Yeah, there's thousands of people there. And listen to that tepid applause. I can count the hands.
At the end of the day, my fellow compatriots, we all want the same thing: to better the lives of the South African
to
people.
steal from the people of South Africa.
We need to strengthen the trust between citizens and elected
There's no
representatives
trust to your clown.
through competence, through integrity,
Jay.
performance, and delivery.
TikTok. Slither off scroll.
Public representatives need to be more visible. They also need to be more active in our
Why
communities.
does it take you morons 27 years to wake
They
up? to
need to focus on implementation and make the people of South Africa partners in development and in bettering their lives.
Well, we can't make government tender
Above
for the wrong
all,
skin color.
They need to listen to the communities that they serve. I would like to thank all those people who have contributed to the success of the 2021 local government elections.
That wasn't the IEC.
I want to thank the commissioners, and I thank them on behalf of the people of our country,
Yeah.
the commissioners who are seated here. And in fact,
Morons.
I do
idiots.
think we should give them a standing ovation
I think we should give
for
them
the
a PK.
wonderful work that they
Kick
did.
them in the ass. For the failed job. Look at this. What a bunch of freaking train seals.
No, you don't need to stand up. You sit down.
Train seals.
We are giving you a standing ovation.
They
Sit
give you a
down.
standing ovation for your failures in stealing the election from other parties. Oh, well.
Thank you.
Train seals.
As the election was proceeding, I kept imagining how difficult
Yes.
your task was.
Yes.
That you could organize an event on one day where more than 12 million people participated within a set number of hours.
Is he smoking crack
And to be
cocaine?
able to do so
Jeez.
without many glitches.
Boy, man, you might have to lick their
And
spoons.
even as some
A lot of women up there.
election box or ballot box disappeared, you've been transparent enough to speak about it publicly and to say, this is what we're going to do. I truly thank you. I don't know how you do it, but we thank
They
you
don't do
for
it.
all
That's
the
the
work that you
problem.
have done.
Moron, they don't do it. Did you watch the events that just occurred?
I also want to thank the staff of the IEC
Yes.
who worked tirelessly, yes, without sleep for hours and days,
Yes.
but who
their
work
work.
behind the
To
scenes,
stop the election from occurring.
people that we never get to see. I'd like to thank them because once again they conducted themselves with professionalism and impartiality.
Wow.
I want to thank the South African Police Service and the South African National Defence Force
Who were
for
non-existent.
ensuring the safety of voters
Yeah, except polling
and the
stations.
integrity of the election process. I also want
It's pathetic. These
I
are
also
trained
would like to
seals.
thank the staff of the Department of Home Affairs for processing voters and enabling them to have the correct documentation on voting day. And
They
yes,
had the wrong documentation.
I would like to thank all the political parties and candidates who stood in this election for their conduct, for their discipline, and their commitment to the people of South Africa. And yes, you too, as political parties, deserve an applause. Please applaud yourself.
You deserve a swift kick in the ass for your nonsense. My goodness.
I would also like to thank the media.
The captured media.
The media were in many ways
Responsible.
the heroes and heroines of this election process.
What an ass licker this guy is.
For they kept us informed of everything that was happening throughout the election process. Sometimes the media never gets thanked for everything that they write,
Shouldn't thank
both
corrupt media.
wonderful and horrible about many of us. We never thank you, and today I'd like to thank you for the good, the bad, and the ugly that you wrote about us.
Please.
And what you also wrote about me.
Thank you, man.
Through your efforts, you were able to keep us all informed.
No, they
Both
weren't.
television, radio, social media, and print. Last week in Cape Town, I received a letter from a young woman called Ruby.
Oh, here we go.
And she wrote, President, I have faith in the leaders of South Africa. I believe that South Africa can take her rightful place in the world and that the dreams of our great leaders can be realized.
What great leaders?
Close
This
quote.
clown?
Very young lady. In these difficult times, these words from a young South African truly encourage me. They should encourage all of us.
Someone take his
We
iPad.
owe it to Ruby and to the millions of South Africans who dream of a better South Africa
Without the ANC.
to do no less than our very best.
Please take his
We
iPad,
owe
somebody.
it to the millions of South Africans who voted in these elections to bring about the change that they are asking for. Let us turn the promises that we made on the campaign trail into reality. Let us unite for the common purpose of recovery and rebuilding.
He's putting politics
Let us
into
work
the
as
election
one
results. It's not his place to
for
talk
a
like
South
this.
Africa of equality, freedom, and shared
Get rid
prosperity.
of BEE, you goofball.
Let us keep moving forward.
You've moved backwards. Back
And
to
as
education.
new councillors have been elected, let us wish them the
700.
very best as they embark on this journey of improving the lives of our people
Stealing from
and
them.
also improving the lives
Racializing.
of our communities.
Oh, shut up. What a
I thank
schmuck.
you.
What a schmuck. What a schmuck. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Cyril Ramaphosa politicizing the election results. He has no business even talking at this event. And here comes one of the captured Electoral Commission officials wearing a mask the size of a bed sheet to cover up her face as she tells lies to the public. Look at them putting smoke into the air over there. I
Thank
thought
you,
that was
Mr.
just on the
President.
screen.
Thank you very much. At this point in time, I'd like to invite the Vice Chairperson of the Electoral Commission,
Take your mask off.
Ms. Janet Love, for her remarks.
Oh, her remarks. Her remarks. Well, she's not starving. This one's going to be smart and take her mask off. Thank you, ma'am, for taking your mask off. We can understand what you're saying now. Appreciate that.
Thank you, Dr. Masuku, as Program Director.
We're not staying
Thank
with the
you
long folks.
all for being here. Mr. President of the Republic, honored guests,
Is that Beckett
your
Sealy?
presence here really inspires
Like a melon head.
us. Some of you have been mentioned by name, and as those names were being called out, I frantically looked in the audience because your presence here is incredibly important to us.
Yes, it
We
is.
value your solidarity and your support. But
Yes,
there
it
are
makes
a
us
number
feel.
of other people for whom we owe a great deal of thanks as a commission and also
Yes.
as a nation.
Yes, yes, it is.
I think first and foremost, it has already been said that we owe a great deal of thanks to people who participated, whether those people were candidates, political parties, independent candidates, and all of the party machinery that goes into the
Stealing
very
elections.
exhausting task
All
of
the
running
party machinery
campaigns.
goes into stealing elections.
You already raised with us the concerns that you had about those campaigns in very, very difficult times and during very difficult challenges of this COVID pandemic. We salute you for all the work that you've done.
Thank you so much for helping us today.
And we salute you, as our CEO has already said, for putting yourselves forward to serve this nation.
Yes, thank you so much.
As the Electoral Commission, we really wish to underscore our deep appreciation to various institutions who have worked with us to make our activities possible.
Such a rousing failure.
We thank our ministers who have participated in the Interministerial Committee that is convened by the Minister of COGTA, Dr. Dlamini Zuma. We thank her very much for her ever-present responsiveness and understanding of the urgencies of our task. We do thank the Minister of Home Affairs, as we thank also all of the institutions and the leadership of our security services, not just at the national level in terms of our SAPs, our South African National Defence Force and our National Intelligence, but also our Metro Police and our Traffic Police throughout the country. There were times when that support and those escorts, very late at night, when ballot boxes have to be rolled back to our various warehouses, your presence was really very, very important.
Yes, it was so important. Thank you so much.
We had over 100 organizations accredited as observers.
Yes.
Many, many of those organizations brought forward thousands of domestic observers.
Indeed they did.
We really cannot express enough how we value that service, because it's an important way in which we can provide additional assurance to our people.
I'm sorry, but I've had enough.
Many civil society organizations, faith-based organizations, and traditional leaders worked with us in our preparations in bringing together this extraordinarily difficult and, as you have all heard, very pressurized event.
Yes,
but we have also been able to do this because of some extremely important partners.
Yes, that would be the parties that deposited money into their bank accounts so that we would try to throw this election by not having people's names on the ballots in places they were registered for, despite having letters and text messages confirming that they were actually eligible to vote there. We did our very best to undermine the opposition parties, and it paid off high dividends, particularly against the Democratic Alliance in the Western Cape and also in Nelson Mandela Bay. Excuse me, we call it now. I must say that we are very pleased with the captured media who, along with us here at the Captured Electoral Commission, have played a serious role working with the Culture Department under the leadership of the exalted Dlamini and Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma. Yes, my precious, yes, my precious Nkosi Ndizi, my precious, yeah. Oh my God. Oh my God! Oh! These people are disconnected from reality. Oh my goodness. What world do they live in? It's not the world you and I live in. I'm telling you, man, that was something. That was interesting. Well, that sounds like the little thing there. That was easy. My goodness. Ladies and gentlemen, the final election results are in from the Independent Electoral Commission, and I've already reported on those, but let's take a quick look at 2016. So 46, 22, and 10.5. And in 2016, it was 54, 27, and 8.9. In relative terms, things changed. The ANC went from 5,163 to just 4,500 seats. The DA went from almost 1,800 to 1,400, and the EFF gained from 761. Wow. 2016, 2021. Wow. Unbelievable, folks. Unbelievable. That's incredible. Wow. The Black Diamond Gravy Train. The best part, what was that? Sorry, my iPad. Somebody stole my iPad. It was here. Someone stole my iPad. Please give me my iPad. Give me back my iPad. I can't continue without my iPad. Oh, here's my iPad. Yeah, that's our excuse for 3 hours. We want to thank everybody for doing such a brilliant job. Jay says my ears are smiling again. Oh boy, they got Chris as well. Yeah, I couldn't stomach it anymore, folks. even doing the voice, I couldn't do it anymore. Chris Wyatt, you feel hutful. Now imagine how we feel. No, I got you, Anne Marie. I got you 100%. 100%. Yeah, half of South Africa can watch. No one can watch that. Oh, because they have no electricity. What is Ramaphosa doing at the independent? It's the Independent Electoral Commission, not a campaign event for Cyril Ramaphosa and his failing party. Why is he there? I don't want to hear his role as president. No, if anybody should be there, it should be NDZ, Nkosazana Dlamini-Zuma. She should be there. And she should be telling people that when it comes to this election, you have to understand that when people zol, they put the saliva on the paper. And when people zol, they share that zol. When people vote, they zol. And people should zol more often. We here at the Cooperative Governance and Irrational Affairs Department. Yeah, no open-toed shoes, no cooked chicken. Hey, DA, what about no cooked chicken? What about no e-commerce, Ibrahim Patel on the DA? Man, talk about missing a golden opportunity. I feel like we've been robbed, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not even South African. I want my money back. I want my money back. Do you understand the words coming out of my mouth? No, nobody understand the words coming out of your mouth. Anyway, I'm telling you, toke it up. That's right, Tian. I'm telling you, man, it's absolutely crazy. Look at this. My iPod is updating. Look at that. Ooh, it's been so long since I touched it. I couldn't find my iPod. I was using it to speak, and somebody took my iPod. Who took my iPod? It was here a moment ago. It was here. Rick Hearn says Elon Musk lost out. Some of these people are already on Mars. Agreed. I'll do a night owl, Hendo, but it's after I teach. It'll be late night, and then I'll get Warhammer come on and go, wow, 11 o'clock, that's too late, man. I can't do this. Now, Warhammer said that the other day. No one else is allowed to go up and talk. I saw Ramaphosa with it, with my iPad. Thank you, Olaf. Ramaphosa stole my iPad. There'll be a night owl tonight, Peril. Yikes. Half essay can't even go. Yeah, but I won't be a long one because I've got to do research and preparation for tomorrow's University of Witwatersrand. Folks, by the way, tomorrow I'll be presenting at University of Witwatersrand event in South Africa remotely. After the speech, alcohol sales will go up. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. People going to get some freaking tranquilizers. The Artful Dodger says it's great to have someone from another country critically examine our election process. However, I believe we have a far better system electing our representatives than many other countries. Your system is good. The application and execution of it by the Independent Electoral Commission in this election was atrocious. Now, having said that, I freely admit that based on anecdotal evidence from people around the country who were in my viewing audience who told me what they did with their experience at the poll, that 85% of the polling stations, there was no problem. Excellent. But when a single voter is turned away without following an MEC 7 form, that's not acceptable, folks. That's not acceptable. Every voter should have the opportunity to vote. But thousands, tens of thousands, possibly six figures thousands, hundreds of thousands of people were denied the right to vote their franchise by inept IEC roles and intentional subterfuge, some would claim. I have no evidence of it, but certainly we know the roles were screwed up. We saw it over and over again in Hermanus. We saw it in Ekurhuleni. We saw it elsewhere. Wow. Haven't seen anything about the Rona in a week. Yeah, Richard, wasn't this the third wave, the fourth wave? It's coming. Ladies and gentlemen, let me roll the clock back, okay? Let's go back to August. Based on an investigation by Deputy Chief Justice Moseneke, we've determined that it's impossible to hold a free and fair election in the time frame required and mandated under the Constitution. Therefore, we urgently appeal to the Constitutional Court to allow us to delay this election until 2022, when the ANC might be a little more popular. We can't hold free and fair elections in South Africa. Constitutional Court says, nonsense! You got until November 1st to execute it. Why couldn't they do it? Because the Rona, the fourth wave is coming. They told us they can't do it. It's not enough time for parties to campaign. Apparently, it's enough time for the Freedom Front Plus to campaign, for Action SA to campaign. Heck, even the UIM, they gained 30,000 votes. Look at that. They didn't exist before. The Patriotic Alliance, which wasn't even the election in 2016, got 240,000 votes. 75 seats, or not 75, 50 seats, whatever it is. Apparently, there was time for them to campaign. So what a crock. And where's this fourth wave? Non-existent. Not happening. Not happening, folks. Not happening. Anyway, Hendo is, what's this? Haven't seen anything. Yep. Is anyone up here from the Biden public string? I don't know. No papers. Zilla escorted, intimidating. Yeah, no kidding, Patrick. Yeah, what happened to Helen Zilla? Not even in the news. Not even in the news. System USA leaves a great deal to be desired. Perhaps you should spend some time trying to improve your own system before emphatically criticizing ours. Well, R for Dodger, perhaps you should do a little research and know what the hell you're talking about before you make unfounded criticisms. I voted this week. Nothing wrong with the system. System worked perfectly fine. My ballot was collected, it was counted, and I was elected to office. So you don't know what you're talking about. You want to come here and troll? You're in the wrong place. You're in the wrong place. So what exactly from your unfounded position are you talking about here? Everything I said was factual and can be backed up with video footage, with news reports, with witness testimony. You just come here and say that our system needs to improve. What about our system? What about our system? I voted successfully with no problem. No 10 hours of waiting. All the poll officials were present. The poll watchers were present. Candidates were campaigning at the legal distance from the poll. I did my vote. I showed my identification. I got my ballot. I sat down. I voted. What's going on? What are you talking about, Artful Dodger? Feel free to share the evidence-based commentary that you're offering there. System USA leaves a great deal to be desired. How? There is no system. First off, you're factually wrong. There's no system. See, that's the problem with people coming here and trying to troll. You know what you're talking about? There's no voting system in America. We have 50 states and 4 territories. Each has its own voting system. Oh, your election process for your election of president was highly questionable. Okay, Artful Dodger, I'll accept your premise, but you're going to have to explain how. How? I can tell you how here in the state, but I can't explain that because then I'll be censored by the PUTU. Because the state violated its own election laws. Yes, but each state is different. And no one's questioned this before this last time around. So, no, you're not trolling, okay? But look. We expect people to bring facts and give examples here, and I need to hear that. So I can tell you that there were less than acceptable results in the last election, Artful Dodger, but you've got to be more specific. Questions about Arizona, questions about Georgia, questions about Pennsylvania. There will be a night owls this evening. Yes, that's right, Paulie, but it won't be all that long because I've got to, well, we'll see. I always say that it won't be long and then it winds up being longer. But Artful Dodger, thank you for your comments. But please, I mean, look, I take all kinds of issue with the last election as well. All kinds of issue with the last election. But I do so on a factual basis. For instance, there is no election system in America. The states are sovereign, and the responsibility for executing and conducting the elections falls under the states. That's how our Constitution works, and that's how it's supposed to be. You have an independent body that has proven that it's anything but independent in this election. First off, they tried to collude with the ruling party to prevent the election from happening in clear violation of the Constitution. That's a fact. Not that they colluded. That's not a provable fact. I don't have that evidence. That's an analysis on my part. You can refute that, and I'll accept. Other people have told me they don't think the IEC is in collusion, and I'll accept their premise. That's their view. This is my view. But they tried to prevent the election from happening, saying that it was impossible to hold a free and fair election because of the pandemic, and that's simply factually untrue. I went to 3 elections, now 4 elections, without catching the bug, with no problem whatsoever. 115 countries around the world had held elections by the time that they made this conclusion in June. Successfully. No super spreader events, no cases that were an issue. Zambia held an election. The ruling party was thrown out. Namibia held an election. The ruling party lost all the municipalities. Central African Republic held an election, a failed state. Somaliland held. So it was all lies, total lies. We were supposed to be in the midst of the 4th wave. Where's the 4th wave? Where's it at? Oh, it's coming. And so are the power cuts. So is the load shedding. Artful Dodger said, well, your presidential election was questioned by a huge proportion of population. Yes, you're correct. You're correct, Artful Dodger. That doesn't mean they're right. I question it, but it doesn't mean I'm right. And we'll never know. Because the corrupt officials who refuse to audit elections, corrupt officials who refuse to look at what happened, corrupt media who lie about what happened. So we'll never know. People make claims, people make counterclaims. We'll never know. Never know. Unless someone gets a Freedom of Information Act that applies in a particular state, because that's a national law. Maybe in a state they have it as well, and they get access to the information, they can review it. All kinds of strange things happening. Yeah, but that's because we have a party that is as corrupt as the ruling African National Congress, and that will hold on to power regardless. They will lie, cheat, and steal, and they do it all the time. All the time. So your criticism is well-founded, Artful Dodger. Thank you for sharing that. I appreciate it. But again, so now you've gotten to a point there. What you just said is actually true. So that's what I like to go with, rather than just, stray points thrown out there. South Africa needs some American freedom. Seriously, man, please help us out. Yeah, Nico, how you doing, man? IEC should go back to 2019 elections format. It was much quicker. Yeah, they should do something different. White Diamond Child, where does the Cape Colored Congress come from? They have nothing for the colored people now, marginalizing colored people once more. White Diamond Child, I can't comment on them. I don't know much about them. Yeah, for now until HR 1 is passed into law. Exactly. But that's not getting anywhere right now. All I know is, Power 1 says, all I know is this. White Diamond Child gave me a super sticker. Thank you so much for that. The overall system in South Africa is far more equitable. It may not be fairly applied, but the basic system is more sound and so proud South African. No, it's not. It's not more equitable. How is it more equitable? Explain to me how it's more equitable. In this country, your vote counts. If you don't get to vote because there's an issue at the polling station, you get to follow provisional ballot. And people are aware of that. And poll workers will tell you that. We can't confirm you're not on the roll. So you're going to form a provisional ballot. That's a process in South Africa, but that process was not applied equally to people turned away, especially people in predominantly Democratic Alliance wards. And before you start going, oh, you're just defending, no, I've attacked the DA endlessly in the last 24 hours about their feckless campaign. They're ridiculous, and I've done it for weeks, saying that they're on the wrong path, that this DA gets things done, refusal to take on the African National Congress and show their service delivery failure is going to cost them, and it has cost them dearly. They are seen by many voters in South Africa as a party of talk, not a party of action, and that hurt them. They have blown the chance to take control of Nelson Mandela Bay. They not only have gone not up, but down. They had 45% last time. Now they're down to 38, 36%. That's a disaster. An absolute disaster. They have 57 seats. Now they have 48. They lost 9 seats they had. Nelson Mandela Bay. They have ruined the chance to take Tshwane outright. They had 42% last time. Now they're in the 30s. They had a golden opportunity to take Ekurhuleni. They didn't. But of course, in Ekurhuleni, the Democratic Alliance mayoral candidate was denied the right to vote in special voting, even though she had the letter proving. How is that equitable? That's not equitable. That's problematic. Helen Zeller was removed from I could go on and on. Equitable, my bum. Mixture of proportional representation. Oh, no, see, that's a scam. That's a scam. What that does is come to divided government. If this proportional representation nonsense wasn't there, then most of these parties wouldn't exist. And you'd have a real race. Instead of this Weimar Germany, Italy, post-1945, 325 parties, of which dozens of them got seats. And for the parties that are unable to pull a majority, now they're going to get one king. It's not equitable, proportional representation. So I guess maybe your point, Artful Dodger, is that it's equitable from the standpoint that a party that won no wards still gets representation. From that standpoint, if that's your point, I'll agree with you, Artful Dodger. That is fair. But that's not equitable to the system. That's fair to the people who voted, but it's not equitable to the system. It holds the system prisoner to small parties. So if that's your point, I agree with you, Artful Dodger. I'm laughing at somebody's comment, not the Artful Dodger. Rebellious Ruth is here. Yeah, I get your point, Artful Dodger, but I don't agree with the proportional representation system at all. It's an interesting approach, but I don't agree with it. Also, I think 5 years is a bit long for municipal elections. They should be every 4 years. That's just a personal view. Doesn't make me right, just my view. Yep. So, this thing is back to 99%. What is going on here? Oh, that's an old one. That's why. It's an old one, 99. Let's get back. I got a lot of these open. So yeah, let's get back to the home page. And the elections are done, folks. They're crazy elections. Really abysmal turnout in South Africa. So basically, the ANC is going to control 122 towns, possibly 167 through a coalition. And they got 46% of the votes cast, which include 2 votes. They get 2 votes here, which means they only got about 5 million people that voted for them out of 39 million people possible. Wow. Hey, the Artful Dodger says, meet you for a drink at the Vodborghof. Yeah, that sounds cool, man. It's still in business, right? They haven't gone under. Artful Dodger, do you know if they're still in business? I haven't checked their website lately. I hope they're still in business. I know that the owner committed suicide or something like that a few years ago, or got killed. 23% turned out to vote. Okay, but Hendo, it's not 23%. He said 12 million people voted, right? 12 million people voted. Oh, maybe it is 23%. You're right, Hendo, when you look at the actual numbers. I'm sorry. My apologies, Hendo. Yeah, so 39 million eligible. We had 12 million divided. I don't know that Ramaphosa was correct. That's 31%. So I don't know if he's got the right number, but he said 12 million. Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know what the actual number of people showed up. They tried this election. Well, they tried. John did that with the DA and was on the ground in townships to meet with people, and they're also censored by Media House. The only time we heard about DA is when they were racist. That's actually not true, Jake. I get your point, but I follow Daily Maverick. I follow News 24. I follow Rapport, although I can't read much of it because it's behind a paywall. I follow the Times Live, Business Tech, multiple media outlets, many of them owned by the same media houses throughout South Africa. And the DA was mentioned quite frequently in legitimate means. They were given fair opportunity. But yes, there was an overemphasis on own goals and also on false claims like this, trying to attribute the Gareth Cliff situation to John Steenhuisen. That was absolutely ridiculous, and that came late in the game. But the DA got plenty of fair coverage. The ANC got plenty of more than fair coverage. They also got some bad coverage. Yes, the media's captured, but News 24 in particular, I will say, in this election, by and large, until the last 2 days before voting, did a very reasonable job and an objective job for the most part in their op-ed and in their news reporting. And they kept a firewall most of the time between those two. That's my assessment. I have been very critical of News 24, and I've always called them captured media because they are. But in this election, I have to say that their performance was pretty good. The DA, Jake, did get a fair shake by much of the media. And they also got an unfair shake by places like the City Press and the Citizen. That's true. But that's not where the race was won or lost. It wasn't won or lost on SABC or ENCA or News 24. This race was won and lost on the ground, in the townships, in the suburbs, in the mining hostels, in the countryside. That's where it was won and lost. And the DA failed. They failed. There's no way around it. Now, you don't hear me calling for the resignation of John Steenhuisen or Helen Zille. In fact, I think they should reinforce the fact that those people are there. They are the right people. But the people responsible for devising this strategy need a serious conversation. And by the way, this isn't Monday morning quarterbacking. I've been saying this since June of 2020. This isn't new. People aren't listening, and that's their loss. EFF is 10% party with ideas that appeal to only 10%. Well, exactly right, 10% of a minority. So the EFF got 2 million votes out of 39 million eligible voters. Think about that, 2.5 million. And that means they got 1.2 million. They got 1.2 million people to vote for them out of 39 million eligible people. What percentage of the population? Of the eligible voters, the EFF got approximately, so we go 1.2 divided by 39 equals 3% of the eligible voters voted for the EFF. Larsala says no one cares. Sunday crimes, city mess, and shit. It's me again. Chadwick says it's not time to be woke, it's time to be awake. I'm awake, making breakfast happy as it can be. Who's grumpy? The one that just woke up calling the shots? IEC is Incompetent Error Council. Well, I call them the Incontinent Electoral Commission because they're full of crap. Incontinent, full of crap. Yeah, it's a bad turnout. It's a bad statement on South Africa. And thank you all. Are you still here, R4 Dodger? I'd love to meet you at the Wartburg House, but you didn't answer the question. I don't know if you took off. So hopefully they're still open. Anyway, folks, I need to stop so I can get something to nosh on because I'm teaching in about 27 minutes and I think my blood sugar is low. Election is done. Now it's time to keep building my off-grid electric system, says Richard Lemmer. Yeah, well, you voted Freedom Front Plus. Congratulations, Richard, on the performance of the party you chose to support. The real voters have all left the country. There's a lot of that being said, too, Valerie. Yeah, a lot of people overseas who could have contributed to fixing this mess. Paulie says, Cape Party, Cape Exit has got one seat in Cape Town now. What? Not according to this. Let me go back and see if they changed it. Cape Exit. Okay. This says 0 seats. 100% reporting 0 seats. I don't know if that's true what they're saying, but this says 0 seats. I just checked it. So anyway, you're welcome, Chadwick. Anyway, folks, thanks a lot. Be sure to smash the like button. 84 people here now. We went down, then we came back up with a little bit of audience. 157 likes. Got some super revenue chat for this. I hope you all enjoyed Kobus Hoffman. That was a good conversation. Tomorrow, right here on Chris Wyatt Africa at noon Eastern Standard Time, 6 p.m. in South Africa, Dr. Jeffrey Hammond. I said Peter earlier. Jeffrey Hammond. Oh, no, Peter Hammond. Who is he? Who's the guy coming on? Who's the guy coming on, man? Oh, my goodness. My goodness. Anyway. Dr. Peter Hammond. I want to say Jeffrey Hammond. That's a guy I know. But Dr. Peter Hammond from Frontline Fellowship will be on the program tomorrow to talk about, oh, this is funny. This is funny. I gotta put this up before we leave, folks. Someone just sent this in social media. This is very funny. Some things are getting more dear. The cost of them has gone up exponentially because of the inflation that's taking place. And if you're looking to win her heart, this is what you need to do. Thank you for the super chat there. I'll get to it in a moment from Patrick. Awesome work, Chris. Please look into a faceless YouTuber who calls himself By Puck. Okay, I'll check into it. So if you want to impress a lady in your life, this is what you do, folks. Check it out. Impress her with something expensive. Give her petrol. not an engagement ring. Give her petrol, man. Yikes. Look at that. That's too funny. Thanks for whoever shared that. Anyone who watched U.S. Millennium Speech and Election he can claim a new title edition. He is the EEIC Elephant Eater in Chief. Yeah, I got you, Artful Dodger. Thanks for that. Okay, folks, 159 likes, 75 currently here. God bless. Thank you so much for watching. And my thanks to my special guest, Kobus Hoffman from Freedom Front Plus, as we got to celebrate his party's victory, as well as the kind comments about my victory as the judge of elections here in my jurisdiction. Thank you all so much. We'll be back for Night Owls later on. I'll post the time. It'll probably be about 10:30 in South Africa, 4:30 Eastern Standard Time, and we'll be on for a bit later on. Thank you all so much. I appreciate the support. It's been a fun time watching Patrick Bet David podcast. He gets 500 super chat in a minute. What happens to that cash? I have no idea. 30%. Rainier Wolfcastle goes to the Poo Tube. They get 30%. Anyway, and then the rest goes to somebody. Cheers, everybody.